Welcome to our Carolina Classic Fair Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week, presented by West Shore Home. It's a Central Piedmont matchup here in league play. The Glen Bobcats at 2-2. They take on the Reagan Raiders, who want to get back to winning ways and gear up for a big stretch of high school football here in Winston-Salem. Welcome to the tallest climb in Pufftown, North Carolina. With Mark Covert, I'm Evan Budrovich. Both Reagan and Glen are led by stud sophomores. How do these underclassmen carry the load tonight?
Look, I don't think it's any secret that really Reagan's got two superstars in their backfield with quarterback Jacob Smith and running back Jalen Moore. They're going to be presented with a tall task tonight, a Glen defense that is historically great. Isaiah Bufford, one of their stars at linebacker defensively, is going to challenge them all night long. It's up to Moore and Smith to respond accordingly.
Hannah Brady, our third member of our team, has more on Jalen Moore.
Guys, the phrase "no Raider rides alone" takes on a whole new meaning for Reagan football. While still searching for their first win of the season, another member of Coach McGee's coaching staff is dealing with a battle of his very own. 2 weeks ago, JV head coach and varsity running backs coach Chris McCoy was diagnosed with leukemia unexpectedly. Last Tuesday, he was admitted into the hospital, where he will likely be there for the next 2 weeks as he undergoes treatment. Coach McCoy has been a huge part of Reagan football program for nearly 15 years and has impacted so many players, including sophomore running back Jalen Moore. Coach McGee told us that he's still trying to come in on the coach's calls on the weekends from the hospital and even grades his players' performance. He says that these kids have been resilient in times of challenge, and while we might not see Coach McCoy on the sidelines physically here tonight, we can still see him in the toughness of these players and these coaches. We wish him all the very best, him and his family, during this tough time, guys.
Thanks, Hannah. What an emotional hill to climb for this Reagan program, for their running backs coach. And now tonight we get to see some football. The Glen Bobcats, the Reagan Raiders, always an entertaining Central Piedmont matchup. Now it's for fun on Friday Night Rivals Game of the Week, presented by West Shore Home. Kickoff is next from Pufftown.
Change up, I swear on my, that won't never change up. What y'all in my boot? Ain't nobody gave me a lick. You can't say me.
This place is popping here in Pufftown. Glen and Reagan set to get rolling in the Central Piedmont League matchup. The great news, the weather is excellent tonight. Here's a look at tonight's Skywatch weather game forecast from our ABC News 45 meteorologist Jonathan Wynn. Perfect 72, and it ends a little chilly tonight with some wind coming in.
Got a little bit of a storm rolling in here, so of course those winds might be whipping a little bit later on. Good for Glen and really good for Reagan as well. Their key contributors like to run the football, so for them it should not affect their game plan too much.
Two programs that have had slow starts in league play, but in our keys to the game, Reagan, you're asking them to run, to set up the pass, and then be reactive. What does that mean, being reactive?
Well, just be reactive to what's going on. Obviously, this Reagan offense has so many players that can do damage to you. Offensively, we talked about Moore and Smith, and they're just the very cusp of it. Got to make sure that you're not allowing yourself to get behind the sticks and really get out there in front of everything. And for Glenn, it's about controlling the line of scrimmage and controlling tempo. They are a team that likes to be physical defensively and offensively. If you're winning in the trenches, you have a good chance of coming out of here with a 2-0 record in conference play.
It was a tight matchup last year. Reagan pulled out the win. Glenn's won 5 of the last 7 meetings. And here we are now, 1-0, Glenn in league play, Reagan 0-1. Maybe the most difficult league schedule in any team in North Carolina. 4 teams in the top 30 in the state they've already played. And Josh McGee said it best. We need to get to 500 for confidence here tonight.
Yeah, well, hey, look, there's no hiding the schedule they played, but that's the schedule that Coach McGee wanted. And he owned up to that when we were here 3 weeks ago, noting that it was a strong schedule. So for games like this, where you come into conference play now, you're giving yourself a shot to go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league.
Ryder Lawson to deliver the opening boot. And this league matchup is underway. This will go into the end zone, and the Glenn Bobcats start from the 20. A Glenn offense led by a young sophomore, Jarrell Crawford. He split duties last year with Mario McClure, a receiver and quarterback. But now this offense is all Jarrell Crawford center.
And you can see where that's going to continue to develop with him under center. Sometimes when you go into those 2 QB sets, it's an issue where you're trying to build chemistry and get into a rhythm. And now it's completely Jarrell Crawford's offense, and he's expected to produce.
That's the Cook Reynolds starting lineup. Keep an eye on Joel Hayes, the running back, number 3. And then receiver Jasir Dixon leads the squad, 12 receptions for Glenn. Here's Crawford's first play on offense tonight. Crawford fires an incompletion. That's through the hands of Kina Rigo. And we have a flag down. This is in the backfield. Our first chance to introduce you to Tommy Bryant, our lead referee. So a 10-yard hold against Glenn. Penalties, a big self-inflicting wound for Coach Antoine Stevens' club.
It's not a team that can get behind the sticks either. This is a team that likes to run the football, be physical at the point of attack, and really just come at you from that physical mindset. It's not traditionally a team offensively that's going to get after it through the air. There's big, explosive plays, so they've got to stay ahead of the chains, keep themselves out of harm's way.
Big win for Glenn last week, 24-21 over Parkland with a 4th quarter comeback at that. Scored with 5 minutes left to win that game. Here's Crawford on 2nd and 20. The handoff, good hole, McGee breaks it outside and gets the penalty yardage back, gets 9, setting up 2nd and 11. Facing a Reagan defense that's given up 30 points a game this year.
And you can see him right there behind number 71, big Grayson Johnson, 6'7", a monster from the right tackle spot, a huge physical specimen. Follow right behind him to pick up a solid chunk of yards.
Sets up 2nd and 10. Crawford passes. McGee gets a block and stays in bounds with a nice juke. That's a first down gain of 12. Slippery run there by Craig McGee. What a difficult man to stop.
Absolutely. You see, he's not very tall, right? So you got to locate him and then bring him to the ground. Some of those guys, when they are lower to the ground, literally are a little harder to tackle because you can't locate them. So an excellent job staying in bounds and getting a couple extra yards at the back end. That's
Karan Miller with the first down. Now it's McGee. He goes back to the screen and gets 3. This quick passing offense for Jarrell Crawford. Last week he was 5 of 19 passing. How do these throws help the sophomore player?
It builds confidence. You just get into a rhythm. Again, we talked last year about how him splitting duties at the quarterback spot may have hurt him in the long run. Now, completely his offense, he's able to have an entire game to build up rhythm.
Here's movement on 2nd down, and Reagan gives up 5 free yards. First penalty on the Raiders. It's 5 extra yards for Glenn.
And as we were talking about the way that this Offense can't get behind the sticks. You see a little bit of antsiness from Brian Herrera on the left side of your screen, just hopping upside the neutral zone. Likewise, Reagan can't give this team free yards either.
2nd and short. First handoff for the freshman tailback, and that goes nowhere. Siobhan Martin-McCullough and Joel Hayes will split the duties. There's Joel Hayes. He's a sophomore. This is a young running back tandem.
Leading rusher on this team, no less. He is electric when given space to operate. Just a young guy, again a freshman, but, a sophomore, but he is certainly one of the best playmakers on this offense already. They've got to get him going early and often.
Sets up 3rd and 4. Jarrell Crawford all by himself. Antoine Stevenson, the head coach and OC, dials up the plays. 8 touchdowns this year for Glenn. And look at this Wildcat. That's Karan Miller in at quarterback. Miller says, screw the gloves. But the time was running out, so timeout Glenn. There was a lot happening before that snap.
There was, and I think it just took way too long. Allowed Reagan to get a good look of what's going on. There wasn't really a sense of urgency on Glenn's side to get into a different formation. Snap the ball before the Raiders could readjust.
Think of the quarterback lineage at Glenn High School. Camden Coleman, who's played Division I football, 18 touchdowns. Cheney Fitzgerald, who was a Wildcat quarterback, now plays at the FCS with Campbell University. And here's Crawford, who started, 5 games last year, and now is the full-time QB in year 2.
And that's where you really want to see that development, right? Again, you're talking about an offense that may have been weakened by the fact that you were having platooning quarterbacks go at it instead of having one guy in there. It makes a difference when you're trying to find some chemistry.
Facing defense for Reagan. Here's the Cook Reynolds starting defense. Josh McGee's staff, Richard Burton, the D coordinator, and the big players to watch, KJ Woody, the nose guard in the middle.
Man, he's so electric. We saw him a couple weeks ago, made some nice plays against arguably the best team in the state of North Carolina and the Grimsley Whirlies. So, guy that you really want to spotlight, you have to key in on. Again, along that front line, so many playmakers. The big number 98, KJ Woody, is a guy to watch.
3rd and 3. And a whistle. Let's see, is this on the offensive line or the defense? That'll be against the offense. 2 costly mistakes for Glenn.
Backing up, going from a 3rd and short now to a 3rd and long. And this is where they're going to have to drop back, most likely to pass.
That was all in the center that time. Chris Shoemaker, the senior. 2 seniors, 2 sophomores, and a freshman. More movement. No flag, though. Third and 8. Crawford. Caught. First down. Karan Miller moves the chains. That's his 2nd reception.
A really nice throw from the pocket. Some of that pressure bearing down on Crawford. Stays in the pocket, hangs in there, delivers a ball down the field, and it is a strike over the middle.
We do have a flag, though. Wow. 3rd penalty for Glenn. That negates the first down and sets up 3rd and long.
And then that time you see a little bit of, I can't tell, is it a face mask or a hold? But either way, a lot of that pressure from Reagan was coming. They were trying to get pressure on Crawford, and obviously somewhere within that offensive line got a little too handsy.
Now Glenn must get to the 42 to move the chains. 3rd and 19 for Crawford. Antoine Stevenson said, our offense cannot fall behind the sticks this week. Here's 3rd and 19. Crawford fires to Miller again, and he's got the first down. 25 yards on 3rd down.
How about that throw? You thought the first one was good right over the middle to Miller. This time just run it back and a little post right over the middle of the field. And Crawford delivers another strike to Miller. Just soft coverage over the top. Tap had him wrapped up behind, but Nothing down in front. Excellent play call. Great execution.
That's a Crescent Ford first down, right of the game in style with an F-150 on the back of Karan Miller. Look at this stacked receiver look. 4 receivers, that diamond up top.
And they did that on the 3rd down attempt earlier before they called timeout, with motion coming again.
Look at all the eye candy that Reagan's defense has to sniff out here, Mark. As an offensive lineman, what does this do when you're mixing guys around?
Well, I think it's more confusing for the secondary, if I'm being honest with you, because they've got a track. You're resetting that formation.
1st and 10, play action. Little screen to Miller, who gets a block. Then Miller is tackled. Nazir Blackman brings him down. That's a creative gain of 6.
Sure is. A screen on 1st down is not something you see a whole lot. And almost a true running back screen, no less. Fight the pressure upfield and dump it off. Crawford does a great job there, just sensing where the pressure is coming from, offloading it.
And his poor lineman there, Niall Glenn, got in the way.
Exactly.
That's the left tackle, who typically should be looking for someone to block, not grabbing his own guy.
It's a lonely feeling sometimes out there when you're in a screen. There's no one around you to block. Sometimes you just get turned around. But nevertheless, a nice gain on 1st down for a team that just needs to stay on schedule with this Glenn offense.
Terrell Crawford had 5 completions last week. He has 5 today. Nearly a 6th. He overshoots Karan Miller, the captain, at wide receiver.
Sometimes you wonder at 6'4" how that's really possible. But just airmailed that one, sat down. Glenn got what it wanted offensively, just couldn't convert.
It's been a bugaboo for Crawford this year. 30% completion. Facing a 3rd and 5. Glenn has not started 2-0 in the league in 3 years. Here they sit on the 1st drive. 3rd and short. Pass is caught. Rigo inside the 40. That was a 7-yard gain on a difficult slant.
Sure was. It was a gutsy throw to put that over the middle. There was a defender for Reagan just sitting down on that football. Broke on it perfectly, but could not get there in time. Looked like it was Sawyer Meester. No. Excuse me, that was Leo.
Pressing forward, 1st down. 1st and 10. And this offense allows Crawford to read and react to what the defense is presenting. As here's Joel Hayes moving into the backfield. Crawford, quick out. Miller dropped it. Glenn has exposed some openings in this defense. They just aren't making plays.
But you can see where their game plan is, right? It's a short passing game. Just get the football out. They're short, easier completion, excuse me, to help build the confidence of Crawford in this offense. If they can get him going, again, 30% is his completion percentage to this point in the year. They can get him going. It opens up a new dynamic in this offense.
2nd down for Crawford. Back to the short route. Miller's got the catch. And this dynamic of Miller and Crawford really important tonight.
Well, that's where they're going to, but at some point you got to think this is also going to start to set up some opportunities for Glenn. At some point you're going to have like a stop and go essentially. One guy is going to hit that fake out to the side and they're going to go deep.
This is play 11 of the opening drive. There's Crawford. Now it's Miller running the offense. Wildcat on 3rd and short. Leads to a timeout from the Reagan defense. We'll take the timeout break. An 11-play drive stalls with a timeout. Glenn will look to convert its opening drive when we return. Plenty more football here in Poptown. Back to Poptown. Tonight's captions are brought to you by Caring Hands. At Caring Hands Home Health, we do our best to make your loved ones feel like they're being taken care of. It's American night here at Reagan High School, 2,000 plus enrollment, and this looks like a country concert here in Winston-Salem. This is amazing.
Isn't it great that Ronald Reagan High School has American night?
Honoring the great president.
Yeah, man.
So before the timeout, Q Miller was in at quarterback. Following the timeout, this is Jarrell Crawford. 3rd and 4. Crawford fires to Miller, who catches it. How did he create separation? He picked up 10.
I'm not sure how he caught the football. Right there, the coverage was there. And I thought initially it was a mistake by Crawford, not just going outside, because he had Dixon along the Glenn sideline. He was all alone by about 10 to 15 yards, but still finds Miller, and give credit to Zero and White.
That's like watching Debo Samuel, the 49ers.
It's a tough catch.
Reagan cannot tackle him.
Yeah. I mean, he has made some physical catches, already his 4th catch in this drive.
First down pass is a bit outside, looking for Joel Hayes. It looks like Glenn, with these short passes, they want to take a deep shot. When do you do it as an offensive coordinator?
You just got to wait for that opportunity, and you're going to start seeing those DBs start to creep up closer and closer to the line of scrimmage. At that point, that's when you start taking your shots, but you also have to remember the kind of secondary you're playing against, led by Layden Callahan, one of the top DBs in the state.
That's a Duke commit, number 7 in the teal. 2nd and 10. Glenn has revamped its offense this offseason with Crawford at quarterback, 2 transfer receivers, including Miller. It's a brand new look this year and a lot of new formations.
Just the offense and team that historically likes to run the football mostly. Take it to the air here early on.
2nd and 10. Over the middle. Caught by Miller with the flag. So he was dragged down in coverage by Jerry Summers and makes his 5th catch.
Well, there's your shot right over the middle, of defender sitting underneath. Crawford needs to put that ball up higher and let Miller go make a play on it, and he sure did, down inside the 20.
There's the holding on Summers, the starting safety.
I'll tell you what, for a guy who has had a 30% completion percentage, coming into the 5th game of the season, he has been excellent tonight to start this game off.
Sets up 1st and goal. Miller has half of his season receptions on this drive. Hit 15 entering the game. That'll make Coach Antoine Stevenson, who played at Elon, a Glenn grad, loves this program.
You would be hard-pressed to find a coach who loves their program as much as Antoine Stevenson does.
Antoine spent a decade here. He didn't attend Glenn, but raised his family. His daughter just graduated. And we have a whistle and a timeout. That'll be Glenn to talk this over. There's so much eye candy that Glenn is throwing at Reagan.
Yeah.
You almost wonder, is it making things too complicated for the offense?
Well, I think, and this is always part of the early stages of any football game, right? You have everyone feeling each other out as far as what they're doing offensively and defensively. That's tough.
We'll take the timeout. Glenn in the red zone on this first drive. They look to figure it out when we come back. In the heart of Raider country, Poptown, North Carolina. good Central Piedmont League matchup. This is week 2 of the conference season. Glenn at 1-0, Reagan 0-1 in the league. And here's Glenn on a 7-minute drive. This is play 14 for Jarrell Crawford and crew. Following the timeout. Antoine Stevenson, the head coach and OC, he has drawn up everything. Formations, quarterback changes, and a lot of Q Miller. 6 catches from Miller, number 0 on this drive.
Really surprised by the amount of action we've seen in the air tonight so far for Glenn.
First and goal, the snap gets bobbled. I don't think the quarterback expected it. So Shoemaker shot it back there and a loss of 5.
There is one bugaboo for this team. It is the penalties. And that's just one thing that has gotten in their way through the early parts of the season, now coming up to the midway point.
This is a great reaction by Crawford.
Just looking over to the sideline, doesn't even see the ball come at him until the very last second, and makes a safe play, no less, just falls down on top of it.
Second and goal after the 5-yard loss. And movement, let's see who moved first, defense or offense?
I think they're going to get Dixon for a false start.
Waiting for the ruling here from Tommy Bryant. You wonder, the longer this goes, could this be the defense moving the offense? Well, there you go. The defense baited the offense to move.
Interesting.
You don't see that too often.
No, you don't.
So the bad snap yardage is negated. And this 15-play drive continues.
Staying corrected. But now goal to go. It has to get into the end zone here.
Second and goal. Glenn is working every second of clock. This is an 8-minute drive.
This is very Glenn. The passing part is not, but this is very Glenn. Working the clock and milking it down and just matriculating the football down the field.
Second and goal. Here's Siobhan, the freshman tailback. Breaks it outside and is tripped up at the 3. Good run from the true freshman in his second career start.
We can tell right now that Reagan is trying to bring that pressure, but the only problem is none of it is outside. And so even on that play, Grayson Johnson, your right tackle, pulls around the left side, and there's no one for him to block.
That was Leo Hausel on the tackle. Third and goal. Handoff. Going nowhere. What a stop by Nazir Blackman. This dude is everywhere. He leads the team in tackles and gets a big 20th stop.
You just saw him shoot through the gap that time. Not fooled and not getting blocked by anyone along that Glenn front. Just bursts through, waits, and makes the play. What a stop defensively. Adam Alexander had nowhere to go with that football.
Sets up the field goal unit. This is Jose Benitez. 24-yard kick. Benitez bends it through. Not the prettiest kick, but it'll work. And a 17-play drive makes it 3-0 Glenn.
What a drive. I mean, of course, you want that to end in more than just 3 points, but an effective first drive where we saw consistency through the air, no less, from Crawford, Miller, and this passing attack. And the Glenn Bobcats draw first blood in this matchup.
Antoine Stevenson said, we must play from ahead. The way our offense is structured, how does this lead now help Glenn's defense?
Well, think about how much time they took off the clock. I mean, realistically, this is a team where their best offense, or excuse me, their best defense is just literally controlling the football and going down the field. And this defense is already so good, as we've already seen several times over the years. So now we get their first look at them against a Reagan offense that could be just as dangerous.
Not only the cheerleaders of old, but the cheerleaders of new. There's the elementary school Raiderettes. Off, how about this drive? 17 plays, 9.5 minutes, and it leads to a 27-yard kick.
I mean, I really can't remember a time where I saw a more methodical drive down the field, and the vast majority of it was throwing the football.
So Benitez to kick this away. Hayes Jewelers kickoff. Hayes Jewelers of Lexington, the king of diamonds since 1939. And this game is moving at an offensive pace of 1939. It's old school, run the clock football. That's Landon Callahan, the Duke commit. What a start for the Duke Blue Devils. 3-0, hosting Notre Dame next week. Could be a top 10 matchup. There's the future of the Blue Devils. And here's the present. And Benitez sends that one away. That'll stay in bounds for Callahan, who turns the other way. Callahan needs a block, and he won't get it. Tackled by Isaiah Bufford, the linebacker, at the 25. We noted the sophomores for these programs, and there is a flag down. Jacob Smith, the sophomore quarterback, he's committed to NC State as a baseball player when he started high school. How does Smith lead this offense tonight?
It's got to be with leadership, and I think that's one of the things that Coach Josh McGee has expected out of his young quarterback as he's starting now to come into his own. How do you lead this offense? Not just get them down the field and throw the football around the yard, but how do you lead the other 10 guys offensively? He's got a lot of responsibility on his shoulders.
Including Cassidy Harvin, who has 4 touchdown receptions.
Right, exactly. It's a Glenn offense, or excuse me, a Reagan offense that is as potent as they come. They just got to find consistency.
Reagan last week had a 2-touchdown lead in the 4th quarter, lost to East Forsyth, and following a penalty, the ball moves back to the 13. Jacob Smith on first down, high snap, has to keep it, fumbles the football, scooped up Glenn, touchdown, Keyshawn Gregory. Glenn's defense making it happen on the first play.
Talked about it right away. The first drive this defense gets on the field about how dangerous they are, how they like to play physical at the point of attack. They get right after Smith. A bad snap throws the entire play off. Smith has to then improvise, gets sacked, ball comes out, and Glenn finds its first touchdown of the night, not on offense, but by that defense.
The first fumble recovery all year for Glenn, and it's a touchdown. Man, Keyshawn Gregory, the sophomore, had himself a play right there. Now Glenn is losing track of who's supposed to be on the field for this extra point. Chance here to make this 10-0. Whoa, Benitez is blocked. This is a live football. Or not in high school football, my apologies. Not a live football.
You like the enthusiasm.
Hey, the way the ball's flopping around today, who knows? Man, and if you're Jacob Smith, you just watched Glenn march for 9 minutes. You get 5 seconds on the field and give up a touchdown.
Hey, short memory, it happened, it's over. You got to go down the field now and put points on the board. You see how the high snap throws everything off there? That looks like it's potentially a handoff to Moore. Snap doesn't get down. Smith can't get it down in time, hangs onto the football and just...
Great pressure by Tyrell Patterson.
Yeah, and great hand placement, just to poke the football out. But one thing you'll say about Smith is just better ball security in the face of pressure.
Go hard with Bang Apparel, a new local athletic brand offering performance fabric. Jacob Smith hopes he has some sticky fingers after that fumble. Only the 2nd turnover for Jacob Smith this year. And I don't even think that's on him necessarily. There was a lot happening on that.
Well, and again, the one thing you could say is the ball security at the end of the play when he still had it. But the snap is really what's there, and you got to wonder, after sitting on the sideline for 10 minutes of game time, maybe that was just a little bit of rust setting in. You got to get back warmed up if you're Glenn, or excuse me, Reagan.
So Reagan gets the football right back after fumbling it one play. And now Jose Benitez on the Hayes Jeweler kickoff. Much better kick. Returnable. Open field tackle right outside the 35. Nice burst for this Reagan special teams. There's Callahan.
Callahan shot through there, didn't he? I mean, it just seemed like he was biding his time and saw a hole in the middle of the field and burst straight up the seam for a solid return. Sets this offense up with good field position. Now they're not backed up either, so there's less pressure on them at the beginning of this drive.
Here's the Cook Reynolds defense. Well, Keyshawn Gregory now becomes the player to watch. And then TK King, he's a tackling machine. 25 tackles this year.
Boy, sure is. Leads the team in sacks as well with 7. He is relentless off the edge.
2nd drive for Reagan after the fumble. Smith keeps. Good completion. That's William Tapp, who gets out of a tackle and tapped near midfield, gets 11 yards. Hard player to tackle out there in space.
Sure was. Amari Wright was sitting way back in coverage, allowed the underneath pass to be taken there. Tapp does an excellent job of extending to go get that football and then picking up the yards after the catch.
While Glenn works every second of the clock, Reagan quick here on first down. Quarterback keep, now runs. Oh, Smith lowers the shoulder. That's a sophomore QB delivering the blow.
You see they're picking up the tempo, like you said, Evan. They want to get back up to the line, run some plays. An RPO that time. Faked it inside, had the option to throw it outside, makes a good decision to keep it and gain a solid set of yards on first down.
Smith, the sophomore, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks in year 2. 2nd and 3. Jalen Moore gets the football. Jalen is right at the sticks. One of the most explosive running backs in North Carolina, Jalen Moore. 88 yards per game, 6 yards per carry. What makes this running back special?
He's just got explosiveness, and I think a really good feel for the game of football. You get him on the field, he's just a gamer. He's a guy who can go out there and make things happen on his own. And if he gets into the second level, you really got to watch out because he is as explosive and dynamic in the open field as they come.
That was ruled a Crescent Forward first down. Aaron Gutierrez now checks in at tailback. And Antoine Stevenson said, we have to watch number 2, Jalen Moore, on every single play.
Well, they're right. That's the most explosive player on this offense outside of their quarterback, Jacob Smith. He is a must-watch player, and they know it.
It's 1st and 10. Gutierrez bangs through one, takes another. That's a hard 5-yard gain for Aaron Gutierrez. Put the exclamation point with that hit.
Sure did. Garrett Wilson was hanging out on the side. Gutierrez did not care who was sitting there, breaks the tackle.
He needs some paint for that helmet.
Sure does.
That's like, gosh, I don't even know how you stop that.
Hold on.
A movable object needs a strong force. 2nd and 5. Jalen Moore back in the game. Jalen Moore blows away. Bye-bye Moore. Touchdown. That 37 yards took 3.5 seconds. This kid is fast.
Fast is maybe an understatement, Evan. Just look at the way he gets outside, sees the defender there, flattens out a little bit to the line of scrimmage, and then makes one subtle move up the field, fakes the defender out, and he was untouched the entire way for his first touchdown of the night.
Jalen Moore, as a sophomore, this kid is special. 37-yard touchdown. Now Lawson on for the extra point, and it's 9-7. Lawson got hit, but no flag. So we'll head to the second quarter. The Stars have come to play. Jalen Moore for Reagan, the bang hard touchdown. We're in for a good one. 9-7 after the first 12 minutes. Welcome back to Pofftown. Hey, when you're here for high school football, we got the winning row. Everyone in that row tonight will receive free tickets to the fair starting next week, September 29th, October 8th. There's magic in the fair. And Mark, I'm told we're going to the fair in 2 weeks. Gonna have the popcorn, gonna have some fun, and then show the clips on the show.
So are we going to speak things into existence? Like, I heard we're going to have VIP status while at the Carolina Classic.
Hey, we got a VIP game so far. 9-7,
Sure
a
do.
lot of scoring. Jalen Moore with a touchdown. Defensive score for the Glen Bobcats. Now Ryder Lawson to boot this away. This kid has Power 5 offers everywhere. Returnable for Siobhan. Siobhan slips through one, trucks another man. This is a freshman who's not afraid to get out to the 26.
Bodies flying all over the place. It's a true kickoff right there.
Like a heavy metal song, let the bodies hit the floor.
Yep.
When Siobhan Martin McCullough comes in.
Ooh, a nice little ball game that's broken out here. And two contrasting styles offensively.
And this is the style that Glenn wants to play.
Exactly. It's just getting the ball down the field. It's as the old school term would be, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. You just want to move the ball. It's not taking those explosive shots. Just move the ball down the field at a consistent pace.
Jarrell Crawford, the toss that's fumbled. Uh-oh. Miller breaks one. He won't get through 2. And a loss of a bunch on first down.
Mishap for a team, again, that does not want to get behind the sticks. This time it's not a penalty.
And that play fooled nobody for Reagan.
It sure didn't, and even if it had hit, I don't know if it even would have worked, really. Lewert was coming downhill with a head of steam to make that play potentially in the backfield, so I'm not even sure if it would have gone anywhere.
Loss of 6 for Craig McGee. Crawford wants 5 yards. He'll get it. Wow, Reagan, you cannot make that mistake on the defense.
And they made it several times already tonight. And even on plays where they haven't been penalized, they're jumping. I mean, they're antsy, and you got to understand, right now, this is just the second series of the game for Glenn. It already feels like the 3rd or 4th. And they've done this several times where they're doing those fake counts, just clapping hands, forcing the defense to jump a little bit.
4th penalty for Reagan. Glenn has 4 penalties as well. So Crawford, 6 completions tonight. 2nd and 11. He wants 7. Overshoots Nasir Staten, and another flag. So defensive pass interference. That's called on Steven Scales, the senior DB. Was that pass catchable, though?
See, and that's what I was wondering, is if it was even catchable. And of course, the argument is always, well, it wasn't catchable because he couldn't get there. I don't think that ball was catchable, Evan.
You know what? That's closer than it looks because it's deep. The distance is only 5 yards apart.
Sure.
He didn't overshoot him by 30.
Yeah. Then it's like, okay, well.
Remember, Jarrell Crawford, he was 5 of 19 last week and struggled to move the football. Today, he's over 50% and has 7 completions.
An efficient first drive where he made the right decision going and getting those easy completions.
You mean finding Q Miller?
No, yeah, realistically most of the time, yes.
He had 6 of those 7 catches.
I introduce you to your easy decision.
And there's Miller moving in motion. Ran indoor track and field. Played football on the varsity for the first time this year. 1st and 10. On the ground. Alexander is knocked down. Hard tackle. Oh, this defense coming in. That's what you like to see from William Tapp, the safety.
He came shooting out of a cannon, straight downhill from the secondary. Looked like Reagan had this sniffed out around the line of scrimmage, but rallied to the football, and Tapp just comes straight down.
And he gave him a wedgie.
Sure did.
Alexander lost his pants.
Also with Jajic also there.
Quick screen. Alexander catches. Cannot break the tackle. Good pursuit. That's David Woowert, and then Tap, the captain, on a stop.
Now 3rd down coming up, and on the last drive, when this football was put in the air, we knew it was going to Q Miller. What kind of adjustment has Reagan made to potentially take him away and force Crawford to go to another option here on 3rd and long?
William Tap, a converted receiver, only his 3rd game at the defensive back position. He's made 4 tackles tonight. 3rd and 11. Crawford, quick out, is dropped. Searching for Alexander. That would have been short of the sticks. Nice coverage by Blackman.
You're counting on Alexander to make a move there and pick up yards after the catch to pick up that 1st down. Not a bad idea. I mean, he was explosive. Excuse me, that is Hayes that they ended up throwing the football to. Not a bad idea. Get it to your running back, but you've got Blackman right there draped all over you. That is a tall task.
Nazir Blackman, a senior. He's an elite linebacker in this area.
And beyond that, we hear from a lot of coaches in the area, like the eye test, when you go to the next level. That's the first scale of what colleges look for. He passes it as a linebacker.
Setting up the punting unit. High snap. The freshman Siobhan rolls one out. And it takes a nice bounce for Glenn. That'll actually turn into a 40-yard punt to flip the field.
So what does this offense do on their 2nd drive for Reagan? Of course, Jalen Moore had the long touchdown on the 1st drive.
That drive was much faster, 2 minutes and 3 seconds versus a 10-minute drive.
And you wondered, they fumble on their first play on offense in this game, and it goes back for a touchdown for Glenn. Come right back down the field, short memory, and score a touchdown.
Jacob Smith, 1st and 10. Back to the tailback Moore. He only gets 1. This defensive line is the strength of Glenn. Brian Godfrey, Aaron Boyd. How do these 2 big guys in the middle stop this running?
They've got to eat up blockers and really clog up those rushing lanes like they did that time along that offensive front of Reagan. They can do that, occupy blockers, and allow some of their linebackers and potentially defensive backs to come upfield and make plays on Moore and on Smith.
So that's Godfrey, 77. He is 340. And he just jumped, giving up 5 yards to Reagan.
It's a good way to eat up blockers.
So both teams are playing the mind games tonight. I feel like in week 5 of the high school football season, if you want to win at a high level, you cannot make these mistakes.
Right, and there's been a lack of discipline on both sides, really. We've seen Reagan jump a couple of times, and now we get Glenn to jump. So the Raiders giving the Bobcats a taste of their own medicine offensively.
2nd and 5. Nick Yount, the 240-pound center, must block the 340-pound D tackle. Here's a run. Moore is stripped down. Isaiah Bufford comes sprinting in.
Just a downhill run. Bufford, as good as they come as a sophomore. Just an excellent feel for the game. Downhill, sheds a block, and just too fast around the edge. Jalen Moore did not have much room to work with.
Only a sophomore linebacker. And head coach Antoine Stevens said, this guy could be my best linebacker ever in 2 years. 3rd and 7. Smith finds his target. Tough catch for Cassidy Harvin. That's his first, and it moves the chains.
Just a really tough catch. Slipped coming out of his break, so he was on the turf. Smith still delivers that football down the field and really give it up to Harvin. Just puts his hands up there and makes an excellent play down the field. Convert, you see he slips and just gets his hands up there to make the catch. Great concentration.
That's a Riddle tractor 1st down, making tall grass short, which he tripped on the grass. 1st and 10, play action. Smith right back to Harvin. And for more on this offense, Hannah Brady. We'll get back to Hannah in a second here. But Cassidy Harvin doing a great job dissecting the defense.
I wonder if that was the same play on back-to-back plays. Just a quick little out route along the sideline. Great cushion, great throw and catch.
1st and 10. Gutierrez, nice hole up the middle. And Gutierrez dragged down Godfrey, who just pulled his face mask after a first down.
It's no easy task to take Brian Godfrey with you down the field, but Gutierrez, who already had one strong run tonight, keeps the legs churning down the field and takes the defensive tackle with him, all 340 pounds, no less.
Okay, Hannah, inform us here about Jacob Smith.
Actually led the Raiders to a comeback win against Glenn in the 5th game of the season last year, which earned him a spot as the starting man. He quit playing football in 5th grade, and then it was all baseball until last year, but he might have stopped playing football, but it's already in his blood, guys. His father, Dr. Brian Smith, was a quarterback for the Georgia Bulldogs from 1993 to 96. Still trying to gain experience with not a lot of playing years. Coach McGee told us this year that he's still understanding how to play with an inexperienced team and is developing more confidence with his own eyes, guys.
So Smith throws the screen. Here's Moore. Only gets 1 yard. Nice ability there of Smith to read the pressure and get the ball out.
Again, sensing the pressure, we saw the same on the other side with Crawford at the quarterback spot for Glenn. Now Smith feels where the pressure is coming from, offloads the football, and Moore actually did an excellent job of catching that football after bobbling a couple times. Good concentration. Only a yard, but you're still staying on track and picking up yards instead of losing.
2nd and 9, nearing the red zone. Smith feeds Moore, breaks a tackle. Moore sprints up the middle. 2nd touchdown for Jalen Moore. So the first one was 37 yards of brilliance. This one's 23 of straight speed.
All on display on that play for Jalen Moore. The sophomore running back has been opening eyes here in the early parts of the season. We saw him 3 weeks ago against Grimsley in a game that was lopsided, still showed out. He was a bright spot for Reagan. So far tonight, he's the catalyst for this offense. 2 touchdowns on 2 attempts.
Ryder Lawson completes the extra point. Jalen Moore, 4 touchdowns this year, adds 2 more tonight. And if Reagan can feed this guy the rock, good luck stopping him. Jalen Moore going to work. Not 1, but 2 touchdowns for number 2 in year 2. We're having a fun one tonight in Poptown. Closed captioning for tonight's game is brought to you by Caring Hands. At Caring Hands Home Health, we do our best to make your loved ones feel like they're being taken care of. Jalen Moore's taking care of this offense. 2 touchdowns tonight on 64 yards.
Well, he's carrying the entire town of Poptown on his back so far tonight. He has been sensational. We knew it going into the game.
Could we call him Captain Poff? Prince Poff? This man's carrying the load.
It's impossible.
That's a good one. So Glenn scored a touchdown, a defensive score. Let's see here on this 3rd drive. The Bobcats get the offense going. Joel Hayes back to receive. Ryder Lawson to boot one out. Ryder trains with the Dan Orner kicking school, UNC Maryland. Some programs have already expressed interest.
Some good kickers in the tribe.
And here's the Hayes Jewelers kickoff. It's a pooch onside. That is recovered by Glenn. Good hands there to scoop that up.
And I just wonder if Reagan did not know where they were on the field.
Because you're allowed to touch that after 10 yards,
Exactly.
correct? Okay.
As soon as you see where that receiver is, because he didn't move up very far, if at all, to catch that football, you pass the 50, it's live. So go up there and fight for that football. They just didn't know. There were 3 different Raiders in the vicinity.
And that was a perfect kick.
Yeah.
Now, did Rico call a fair catch? That would neutralize the ability to touch it.
I don't know that I saw him call for a
I
catch.
didn't see it initially. And there's Josh McGee going, well, we could have done better.
Yep. Look, the traditional way is like two bounces, and it takes that high hop, or you just kick it way up in the air like Reagan just did. It was perfectly kicked.
That's why Ryder Lawson has Power 5 interest.
Exactly.
Great kicker. Crawford against a blitz. Tosses to Siobhan. The freshman is dragged down. Leo Hausel-Reichich, who looks like the Undertaker out there, grabbing a man by the neck and bringing him down.
Well, we talked about Blackman, and Hausel-Reichich is a great linebacker in his own right as well. Great play to show off the speed on the perimeter. That's no easy ask of any linebacker to bring down a running back at full speed.
Leo looks like Brian Urlacher. The neck brace is physical, hard man to
He
stop.
just looks like a linebacker.
He's right in the middle of this Reagan defense. 50 tackles in 4 games. 2nd and 8 for Crawford. Throws it right. Good catch, Dixon. Slips forward, and he's a couple yards short. First catch for Jazeer Dixon, the junior. Coming up at halftime, our My 48 will have this week's Scholar Athletes, interviews with the principals, highlights, and so much more, including the pretzel stacking contest, which I always look forward to. I'm told not to eat the pretzels.
No?
They're more for stacking than snacking.
I would believe that.
Put that on the poster. Glenn's first drive, 80 yards, but a field goal. Ever since, they haven't moved the football. 3rd and 3.
Moving the formation again. Trying to window dress some stuff here. See if they can catch the Reagan defense off guard and out of position.
That's Craig McGee, the tailback, next to Crawford. 3rd and 3. Middle. Catch. Miller to the 30. That's his 8th catch tonight and the go-to option for Crawford.
And I really thought they were going to go underneath that football and really almost use Miller as a decoy. Kenarigo was right underneath, but this time Crawford waits. Miller clears out, comes back inside. Great play design.
Crawford, quick out. That bounced. Wait, that bounced. Incomplete. Don't tell the Reagan defense. Hard hit from Seven Glover. One of the best names in the triad. Yep. Seven Glover.
Easily. Good catch by this officiating crew to see the ball skip right before it went to the hands.
We have seen, though, a more confident Jarrell Crawford tonight than last week, where he completed just 5 passes.
There's a difference. I'm not sure what happened throughout this week in practice, but there is a clear difference between what we've seen throughout the season and what we've seen tonight out of number 12 for Glenn.
Antoine Stevenson, head coach, said, we need Jarrell to be more confident, more vocal. And we're seeing that tonight orchestrated in this offense.
It seems like he's embraced that this week. I mean, in all honesty, he's playing on another level from what we've seen.
2nd and 16. Crawford lets it fly and misses his target. No flag. That's what Dixon wanted. So 3rd and long. Coverage by Callahan.
Just tight coverage down the field. Looking to draw a flag on the Duke commit, Landon Callahan. That's a guy who's as good as they come in coverage.
Who guarded Alex Taylor, NC State commit.
Yep.
As good as any player in the state.
Sure did. I mean, he put up an absolute fight. And guys that were going back and forth this year and in coming years in the ACC, a good battle.
Glenn has targeted Karan Miller all night, number 0. 3rd and 16. Looks that way. There's Miller, and he's well short. Good tackle by the secondary. Callahan sets up 4th and 8.
Maybe in a bit of no man's land here for Glenn.
Or 2 plays to get 16 yards.
Right. And do you play that game where you're thinking about giving it back to a Reagan offense that in 2 drives has scored twice on the ground with Jalen Moore?
2nd, 4th down for Glenn tonight. They're 0 for 1 so far. Here's 4th and 8. Glenn just over 100 yards offense and would use the timeout. We'll take the timeout. Glenn going forward on 4th down when we come back. Antoine Stevenson, ABCs. Always be coaching here on My 48. Coming up at halftime, we'll have this week's Scholar Athletes, school interviews with the principals, first half highlights, and more at our My 48 halftime report. And a competitive game in the first half, and I can appreciate here in the Central Piedmont Conference. Reagan, who made the playoffs last year, Glenn did not. And this is a Glenn program that won the league 2 years ago. They're 1-0 and now driving to take the lead before halftime.
Yeah, I think this is a team that is as hungry as anyone in the conference. They've shown it early on in the season. 1-0 in the conference after the win against Parkland last week, 2-2. And potentially on the verge of breaking through offensively.
4th and 8, quick snap. Crawford fires. Whoa, I don't know where that was going, but Rigo couldn't find it. Maybe towards Miller, and a turnover on downs.
I think they were going to Rigo there, and this time they were using Miller as a decoy. There were a ton of DBs in the area, and it looked like they were going to have Rigo come back to the middle of the field underneath of Miller.
Did Rigo slip? Because he was wide open.
It looked like he did. We saw it on the other side as well already tonight. Cassidy Harvin made a catch along the Glenn sideline, but slipped in the process of doing it, so maybe a little bit of a turf issue out here right now. A little slick.
This gives Jacob Smith a 3rd drive. Fumbled the first snap, gave up a touchdown, and then back-to-back scoring drives. 1st and 10. Smith has a slant. Good catch for the first down. No, he dropped it at the last second. Wait a second. The back judge says incomplete. That was Jerry Summers.
When he came up, the football was not in his possession.
Looks like one ref says catch, one ref says incomplete. Let's see.
That quarterback would have taken the ball. Just ran to the right.
There's the catch.
And then the ball.
Oh, good point.
He caught it.
Yeah. The ground can force an incompletion.
Yep.
That's a tough drop if you're Jerry Summers.
Reagan got what it wanted there, RPO, a hang route over the middle.
2nd and 10, maybe some movement. You almost have to sell that as an O-lineman to get that call.
Hold your water, big fellas.
Smith, handoff Moore, and he's banged down in the backfield. Penetration by TK King on the stop.
Glenn's defense is not going to hide much. When they're bringing pressure, they're going to show you that they are coming. See here the play before. Yeah, just squeaked out right at the back end of it.
As you said earlier, slippery.
Yep. But Glenn's defense isn't going to hide much. When they bring pressure, they're going to show you that it's coming.
Both offenses are reading and reacting the other defense so much today.
See where they're set up?
It's like watching a game of chess. Yep. Smith on 3rd down. Takes his shot. Wide open catch. Summers spins away. Breaks another. And Summers to the 25 on a gain of 50.
Summers was wide open down the middle of the field and almost didn't know what to do. And he did a spin move almost going backwards. to the Reagan sideline to free himself up after the catch. Just wide open. See right here, boom. Just goes back like a reverse spin almost, and then the yards after the catch, down at the 25.
Cha-cha real smooth for 50. That's the longest throw for Jacob Smith all season. The baseball kid at NC State, who has a nice arm.
And what a time for that play to come, no less. It's been the Jalen Moore show here, but the quarterback for Reagan, Jacob Smith, he can sling the football a little bit.
1st and 10. Goes deep. Nearly found a connection. He wanted William Tapp. But you notice that bubble screen up top there?
Yeah. So you're giving the defense a couple different looks, see if you can get them to flow that way because they see the screen take place. But that is a throw that Jacob Smith has to have. Tapp ran a great route, got separation from the defensive backs of Glenn and found himself open. Smith's got to connect with him there. It's a tougher throw to the outside, but you've got to connect for the touchdown.
2nd and 10. Uh-oh, offensive line move, but not the center. So Issa Evans commits the false start, the left tackle.
Well, he sold it though, didn't he? I mean, it was a one-on-one battle on the outside.
And that allowed the D-line to get after the quarterback.
Hey, if you're gonna do it, get your money's worth.
2nd and long. Smith backpedals. Incomplete. Hard hit by Amari Wright, who now is flagged for that hit. And let's see if the receiver is okay.
I guess I'm curious as to why the flag was thrown there. Because in my eyes,
That's
Amari
AJ
Wright.
Ford who's down.
Amari Wright's coming down to make the play. It's a high throw.
He's
Ford's
ruled a
in the air.
dangerous hit.
But what do you expect the defender to do in that place? You can't just let it go. It's a bang-bang play there.
And that's what Antoine Stevenson's asking.
Correct.
Who played defensive back and
Right.
played safety in college.
And KJ Ford is up in the air.
That's what Antoine's saying.
So as a DB, you're
Oh,
just
here we
playing.
go. Antoine having some words, and he has been flagged for a personal foul. Antoine's getting his 2 cents in. Now Josh McGee comes over. Good news, KJ Ford looks to be okay.
See, in my eyes, you can't really.
The way he landed was not because of the hit.
Well, exactly. In my eyes, you can't penalize the kid for that hit because he's just playing the ball. If the receiver's up in the air, you got to take his legs out.
And this is not the NBA.
Correct.
There are different rules in football about how you can play when someone's up in the air. So 2 penalties are basically 30 free yards for Reagan.
And this is where that's the side of it I don't understand. And I can understand why Coach Stevenson is upset about it, but you've also got to keep your composure there and don't make a bad situation any worse than it already is.
That's the captain, Amari Wright, with the personal foul, and the coach gets another 15. Tight end Jackson Martin checks in on the left side. 1st and goal. Final 2 minutes of this first half. 1st and goal. Play action. Smith tipped. Oh, he dropped the pick. Oh, that was a gift in the breadbasket for Garrett Wilson.
Just can't come down with it. The pressure does its job. Forces Smith to be uncomfortable, then tips the ball, and Wilson has it right there in his hands and just drops it.
That's the classic case of why he's not a receiver.
Wow. Not the Garrett Wilson we know.
2nd and goal. Smith gets a big break. That should have been a pick.
Yeah. Coaches will tell you, hey, new life.
Jalen Moore moves to his left. Jalen Moore gets the football, breaks it outside. A flag is down. This might be coming back. I have some bad news for you, Jalen. There's the holding. And that was fairly evident on Issa Evans, the left tackle.
And normally when you get your offensive lineman turning around and looking to the back judge, it's not a great sign. I don't think it was on Issa Evans.
Okay, that was the tight end, Jackson Martin.
Yeah. And Martin looked back to the official.
Well, they both were holding. And
Yeah,
he got
well,
caught.
fair.
I guess every lineman holds in a play, right?
Yeah, you know.
Alongside the former Catawba offensive lineman, Mark Covert, I'm Evan Budrovich. I played D-line, you played O-line, so different opinions.
I cannot confirm or deny that statement.
2nd and goal. Reagan has to go 18 yards now because of the penalty. 10 penalties for Reagan tonight. Glenn has its fair share as well. Here's 2nd and goal. Smith over the middle, incomplete, tipped away by Joel Hayes. That saved a touchdown.
If Smith is leading his receiver instead of throwing to where he is,
Right.
Tapp had to come back and wait on that football. If he leads him further into the end zone, and Tapp knew it. William Tapp is upset, and rightfully so, because that is a ball that needs to be thrown out ahead of him. If it's there, it is a touchdown easy.
Jacob Smith, 5 touchdowns, 3 picks this year, growing as a sophomore quarterback. That was a mistake. Now 3rd and goal. Another deep shot. Heaves it to the end zone. Out of bounds. Unable to find Jerry Summers, so it's 4th down.
That time it's a great throw. Just right into the back of the end zone. You're allowing your receiver, this time Summers, to help you out and make a play. Yep,
He's out of bounds.
Yep.
Good call. So here's the field goal unit. This would make it a 1-score game. Ryder Lawson, who was 8 of 11 last year on kicks, leading to a timeout. This is good field goal range for Lawson. I'm surprised the timeout here from Josh McGee.
Well, and no less in a.
You don't want to ice your own kicker.
Well, exactly, right.
Or do you consider going for this if you're Reagan?
I don't think you do here. I mean, it's 4th and. Well, there was a 4th and goal situation, so they're all the way back. So it's either you score points or you don't if you go for it. Although I guess realistically, either way, it's all or nothing, right?
Josh McGee, who played at West Forsyth here in the county. His daughter has been battling a couple of ACL tears the last 2 years. It's been a hard journey for Josh. And he noted this year was a big coaching season. His team at 0-4, but they've kept the morale up even in this stretch.
It's just been a tough year, and really it's probably the most misleading 0-4 record maybe in the state. I mean, you look at who they played through those first 4 games of the season, and it's arguably been a murderer's row.
Nationally ranked Marvin Ridge, Grimsley, one of the league favorites, East Forsyth in the Central Piedmont.
Mooresville as well.
Good schedule.
Yeah.
Aren't you in Mooresville, though?
I will not confirm nor deny that as well.
That's why you claim Mooresville as an elite program. They are very good, don't get me wrong.
4-0.
So Ryder Lawson comes on for the field goal. This is 35 yards. Woowert, good snap. And Lawson shows off the leg. That ball would have made it from 50, and we have a flag. Was this after the kick?
Yeah, it's in the offensive backfield.
Kick is good. Oh, we have an unsportsmanlike penalty. That's 11 penalties now for Reagan.
I don't know who that would have been on and for what.
Maybe the taunting after the play.
I've been very surprised because these are 2 schools that are usually pretty well disciplined. It's not tonight. No.
I understand that flag, but I don't agree. Can I say that?
No, I certainly think so. I didn't agree with the flag on the last drive for Reagan that just ended. So I think right now we're talking about a game where
Emotions are high.
well, but they're not as high, I think, as to the point of where the officials are thinking it's at. when you get to a certain point, you got to start throwing flags. I guess to not set an example, but to set a point. Like, here's the line. This is where it is. I think that's really where they're trying to get to right now. But I think if you say something to another player in a competitive moment,
What an important final 88 seconds for Glenn to try to tie this game up.
in a spot that they're usually not familiar with being super efficient in. But we have seen them move the football through the air. They've got a chance here to get the ball down the field and potentially give yourself a chance to put 6 on the board or maybe in field goal range.
With the penalty, the kickoff is now from the 25. So this is doable for Glenn. No timeouts.
Only problem is you have one of the better kickers in the area in Ryder Lawson kicking off. And he has a nuke of a leg.
35-yard field goal gives Reagan an 8-point lead. And Lawson shows off that leg. Siobhan on the return. Good room to run for Siobhan. Breaks the tackle. The freshman gets outside. Breaks it in. And is brought down inside the 35. But we have a flag back in midfield. This might be coming back.
How electric has he been?
Now that is coming back. Right around midfield.
For a freshman to have the impact that Siobhan has had so far in this game, I mean, you can't understate what that looks like to this coaching staff, the potential they see from that young man.
Siobhan Martin McCullough, who was on the JV team last Thursday. He played the JV game, got the call to the varsity game on Friday, and is now a featured tailback in week 2.
Isn't that crazy?
Antoine Stevens said, we knew we had talent with Siobhan, but getting him acclimated to varsity took about a month. Yeah.
There's always that transition period. You know, you go up from the middle school ranks where you can be an all-star at that level. It takes time. As soon as you go up the next level, you're going to need an acclimation process.
1st and 10. Crawford misses Rigo, who was running one route, and the ball went to a different direction.
And that's where the consistency issues have been for Jarrell Crawford this year. It hasn't been reading the wrong guy. He found the right guy. Rigo was right there. It's been a consistency issue, just purely throwing the football.
Crawford started this game 6 of 10 passing. It's slowly dipped below 50%.
To that point, where is Q Miller gone?
Q Miller was everything in the first half.
On the first drive, he was the borderline the only target for Crawford. Now he's disappeared.
2nd and 10. There's number 1, Jazeer Dixon, and he gets out of bounds. Third and medium coming up. Need a little bit more here if you're Glenn to move the chains.
You need a lot more. They can't go to a screen more than likely this time. They're going to have to push that ball down the field.
It's been the Dixon and Miller show, combined double-figure catches in this first half.
Saw Blackman creeping up from that linebacker spot.
Audible here for Glenn. The blitz coming. Look at that pressure. Wow, nice catch by Miller, and he gets out of bounds, but short. And some antics going on here, looking for a flag. Wait, why is the clock not stopped? Wow, the ref ruled him in play.
Well, the tackle did start in play and was finished. I'm a little surprised there wasn't a flag. Given what we've seen, the way that play was finished out of bounds, I'm a little surprised there wasn't a flag thrown by this officiating crew.
Glenn needs to move. There's 28 seconds left.
Unless they're more or less content taking it into the locker room.
Wow, Antoine Stevenson puts the brakes on it. Well, you have to take a shot here with 10 seconds. Okay, here we go. 4th and 2. Final play of the half. Crawford out of the pocket. Throws it out of bounds. And an uneventful end to the first half for Glenn.
Not really understanding what the point was there. You're near midfield, and you're in a position where you can put some points on the board before the end of the first half. I understand it was 4th down, but you have a chance to just get down the field and at least put yourself in a position to score before halftime, but maybe not super confident in the way they were functioning offensively after that first drive.
Glenn had the defensive touchdown, but not much else. Reagan, meanwhile, no problem moving the football. And for more, we go down to Hannah Brady.
Coach, up 17-9. What did you like about that first half?
We did a lot of good things. It's tough. 10-minute drive there in the first quarter. We got to do a better job on defense, getting off the field, 3rd down. Offensively, I feel like we kind of got in the groove there, and big holding penalty there. So we got to clean up a few things, but it's always good to be winning.
It's one thing to be winning, but it's another to maintain the lead. How are you going to execute that in the second half?
Yeah, that's been our focus all week, is playing 48 minutes. We've been really good at playing 24, and that's not going to win your game. So in order to win, we got to play 48.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you.
Stay with us as we will go to our My 48 halftime report here coming up next on My 48. Stay with us, guys.
Throughout the 2023 Carolina Classic Fair Friday. Throughout the 2023 Carolina Classic Fair Friday Night Rivals season, Bojangles will recognize an exceptional senior student athlete from each participating school with a plaque presentation prior to each game. This week's Bojangles Scholar athletes are, from Reagan High School, McKenna Gibson. Reagan's McKenna Gibson is a co-captain of the varsity cheerleading team and a 2-time UCA All-American cheerleader. She is a member of Club Unify, the Girls Service Club, and the Science National Honor Society. McKenna is the editor of the school newspaper The Rooster and is a Crosby Scholar. Over the summer, she completed a marketing internship and has served as counselor at Camp Invention. And from Glenn High School, Raven McClooney. Glenn's Raven McClooney is on the varsity cheerleading team and named Winston-Salem All-County in dance. She is the senior class vice president and was a junior class homecoming representative last year. She participates in the Kernersville Rotary Youth Summer Leadership Program and in the Winston-Salem Queen Juneteenth pageant. McKenna, Raven, and other nominated students are also eligible to win a $5,000 scholarship to be presented at the end of the season, courtesy of Bojangles. Bojangles proudly gives back to our community and is honored to be the sponsor of the Friday Night Rivals Scholar Athlete Award.
You're watching the My 48 Halftime Report. I'm Hannah Brady, now joined alongside Brad Royale, the principal of Reagan High School. Brad, you're up 17-9. How are you liking this first half so far?
Well, it's been a great first half. I mean, Glenn's such an amazing school. We have a great principal, Dr. Muncie, just a good guy, very well coached. We knew it would be a good game, but man, look at this crowd tonight. What an amazing crowd. We've got some youngsters here tonight dancing with our Raiderettes, and then it's middle school band night. The weather's beautiful. It could not be a better Friday night, and we're so thankful you guys are here. You guys do such an incredible job with Friday Night Lights, and the way you guys come out and you make our kids feel special. And guys, it's just a community effort. We really appreciate it. It's awesome.
Well, we're happy to be here, and also your school was recognized for academic success on the news. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm really proud of our kids and our staff, our community. We were recognized as an A school here in our state. Our academic growth is in the top 1% of all schools in the state of North Carolina. And guys, there's a lot of hard work that goes into that, right? And our teachers work really hard. Our kids buy into what they're doing. It's just very special. And every year I'm just so humbled to be a part of it, but couldn't be more proud of Raider Nation right now.
Now, Reagan was opened in 2019. Are there any changes since then?
Well, it's been open 19 years, and I would think that one of the biggest changes is just how much the community has bought into our school. I mean, we talked about the crowd size. It's like this every Friday night. They're into not just our football games, but they'll be here to watch our band later. They come to our arts events, volleyball, all these things going on in the fall. The community has really bought into our school. That's why we talk about that, we're one school, one community, one family, and just a great, great community, man. I'm so lucky to be a part of this place.
Well, we appreciate having you on the My 48 Halftime Report. Coming up next, we have a lot more of interviews and a fun pretzel stacking competition. Stay with us, guys. Welcome back to the My 48 Halftime Report. I'm Hannah Brady, now joined alongside Dr. Scott Muncie, the principal for Glenn High School. Dr. Muncie, how exciting is it to finally be in the swing of things at the start of a new school year?
Oh, it's always the best. It's good to get a new group of students in, get that new energy in, freshman group. It's always exciting to finish out the year with a group of seniors that were great. And then you got that new group coming in and moving through, watching them grow, watching them progress year by year. It's always an amazing thing. So we always enjoy it. That's always the best part of the fall, is to get them in, get them started, and it's exciting. It really is.
Now, not only do you have students, but you have athletes as well. What does the term student athlete mean to you?
Well, it all comes down to being a leader on the football field or in the classroom, and we express that to them. We talk about that. I meet with those guys right at the beginning of the year when we have our fall meetings, and we talk about that, about you have to carry yourself at a different level. There's a higher level of expectation, higher demand required of you that needs to be met, and that's what we tell them every time. So that's what it means to be really a student athlete, taking care of academics off the field, but then taking care of yourself on the field as well.
And then it always helps when you have recognition of how hard they work. What does a game like tonight mean for them?
Oh, it's awesome. It's a great opportunity. I mean, obviously it's a conference game. It's a big environment with TV game of the week, so that's always a nice thing. And it gives them an opportunity to just build on the season and kind of work through some things that they've struggled with a little bit at the beginning of the season, and we're able to kind of get a little bit better at. So it's always an exciting thing. We're excited to have the opportunity to be here tonight with the game of the week. So we're really happy.
Well, we appreciate you being right here on the My 48 Halftime Report. It's halftime here at Reagan across the country, guys.
The best Thursday night lights and Friday night rivals highlights from across the country.
Johnson will give to Graham again. This time he gets around the left side, and we'll see how fast he can go. He's at the 30, the 40, the 50. It doesn't look like anybody's going to catch Miles Graham. 10-5 all the way to the house.
McDougal will toss it back. Easterly, the throwback. McDougal has got a block. Jumps over a man. Stays on his feet near sideline. Bennett McDougal.
The punt here is blocked. They got a hand on it and caught. This could be a score right here. It's a foot race. That's a touchdown. Carter Newman on the punt.
His first year as a starter. Coming a big way, and here's an onside kick, and Greenhill's got it. Duffler back to throw, goes long, left, got a man, and he caught it. Oh no, he's intercepted. Wow. Well, somebody caught it, picked off. Number 3, Jack Detro.
Jackson Clark from 50. No, it's blocked. It's blocked. The Raiders come through. The 50-yarder doesn't get past his foot. And the crowd goes wild on senior night, and the Raiders are going to get the victory.
Hey everyone, this Hey everyone, this is DJ Hargrave, Event and Branding Manager with the Carolina Classic Fair. And we are 1 week away from the start of the Carolina Classic Fair, and I have so many things that I'm excited to share with you for you to plan your visit to the Carolina Classic Fair this year. The most recent thing that we announced was our grandstand entertainment at the Deer Park Springwater Grandstand. We have our concert series with 97.1 QMG night kicking off the concert series with the Daz Band and Family Stone. On Tuesday, we have 93.1 The Wolf Night with Chase Matthew, Dylan Marlowe, and Landon Parker. And then to finish off the concert series, we have Shane and Shane, Jeremy Rosado, and Seth Schluter. We also have the rodeo, the demolition derby, figure eight racing, and all of the grandstand entertainment that we've all come to love every single year at the Carolina Classic Fair. It's important for the fair to support high school football, and not just high school football, but high school overall, the students, the teachers, the faculty. And one of the ways that we're directly doing that this year is by providing a new element to Deer Park Springwater School Day this year. This year, on Monday, October 2nd of the fair, you can donate 3 new and packaged school supply items to be donated directly to Winston-Salem Forsyth County students. When you donate those 3 school supply items, you get free admission to the fair. And there are so many ways that you can save this year for the whole family. I would highly encourage you to visit carolinaclassicfair.com, where we have it all packaged for you to run down before you plan your visit to the fair so you can save and have a great time. Again, this is DJ Hargrave with the Carolina Classic Fair. And remember, the fair dates this year are September 29th through October 8th. There's magic in the fair. We'll see you at the fair this year.
Thank you, DJ Hargrave with the Carolina Classic Fair. Let's check out how the stacking contest is going. The pretzel stacking contest combines the good food, fun games, and stuffed animal prize, all which can be found at the Carolina Classic Fair from September 29th to October 8th. Right now we have Grady and Cole going head to head, putting some pretzels on their heads to see who can stack the most. Guys.
Okay, so Grady, oh, nope. We got a winner on the right over there. Okay. There we go. Oh, wow.
So violent.
And he loves the dino.
Let's go!
He's excited.
I think he's happy. Don't eat it. No, no, no! Oh, he doesn't know. Oh. Well, you know what? He won the dino. Did he win the eating contest? No, but he won the dino.
He won the eating contest. He won the dino. He is not going to be winning by the end of the day.
He'll fill it. Hey, how about that? Hey, these Reagan students, man, they're excited.
Woo! They are. They're excited.
Hey, their team has the lead at halftime, too. That's why they're excited.
Sure do.
17-9 here at the break. And then he realizes, oh, wait, I just ate that pretzel that I now have to put back in the bag for next week. So the penalties are the real story, Mark. 8 penalties for each team. The yardage is relatively even, but how do these teams clean things up on the penalties?
Well, it's going to start with just being more disciplined. If you have 8 penalties in a game, any coach really across the country is going to get on you about being more disciplined in practice next week. But 8 penalties in one half for each side, over 100 yards on each side, no less. It is a big bugaboo for both sides, but really it's a tale that is really coming back to bite Glenn more than it is Reagan. Reagan's built to handle those kind of setbacks.
And Glenn's 1 touchdown drive was on a fumble.
Correct. It's a case again where Coach Stevenson told us about it this week. They are not going to be able to get behind the chains and have a chance to win this football game. In the first half, after that initial drive where they put a field goal on the board, they were not able to maintain anything. A lot of the issues that came from that were because of penalties.
So here's the first half big plays. Q Miller was everywhere on the opening drive.
He sure was, and then it just kind of disappeared. I mean, you're talking about a guy that had about 6 or 7 catches on the first drive alone. 8, rather, and then he just disappeared from the game. I mean, he was electric to start.
This was the 3rd down stop that led to a field goal.
Yep.
And Mr. Blackman was everywhere. And then this.
That initial fumble, it really seemed like Glenn had it going all their way. You could not script nearly a better start than what the Bobcats were delivering, but Reagan
and Jalen Moore woke up.
Strike back.
That was 37 yards of easy.
It's a really resilient team coming back, 2 straight drives ending in a touchdown, both of them by Jalen Moore, showcasing everything on the ground.
So that's how Reagan leads at halftime. We'll go down to Hannah Brady with more.
Coach, 8 penalties in that first half. How are you hoping to clean that up?
Hey, just keep playing hard. A couple of those penalties, I got one. A couple of the other ones, I'm disputable, but hey, that's just part of the game. We got to be able to overcome those types of things and just keep playing. So that's what we're going to do in the second half.
You had some frustration in that first half. What was the message to your guys to come back out and dominate in the second half?
Hey, just take a deep breath. It's 2 halves to every game. Let's play this next 24 minutes. Hey, like our life depended on it.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half.
I appreciate it.
We have a lot more coming up in store as the second half is underway right here at Reagan High School.
Competitive first half here in the Central Piedmont Conference. Reagan leading Glenn by a touchdown. And Mark, we noted with both coaches the penalties early on. Last year's game was 28-26. It has a similar feel tonight in week 2 of the conference.
It really does. And these two teams really want it bad. Obviously, Glenn got off on the right start in conference play last week with a win against Parkland. And Reagan saw one slip away from perennial power within the conference in East Forsyth, losing a second half lead. They know what they can do, and they set themselves up for play like this because of their early season schedule. Now, as Coach McGee said, it's about putting it all together for a full 48 minutes.
Reagan in the 4 losses has had fourth quarter leads in 3 of those games. So clearly opportunities. Glenn to kick this off, the Hayes Jewelers kickoff. Hayes Jewelers of Lexington, the king of diamonds since 1939. Here is Benitez to send one away. Good kick at that. Callahan from the 10. Callahan, explosive, breaks 2, out of a third. Callahan beats the kicker, gets to midfield with a flag. Tremendous return to start this second half.
Wouldn't be the 2023 Glen Reagan game without a flag to open the second half, would it?
16 penalties in the first half.
Excellent return. See the elusiveness of Callahan. He's
and a block in the back. That's the Duke commit, Landon Callahan. He'll be part of Mike Elko's club in a couple of months.
Pretty electric playmaker with the football in his hands. Great for a DB, no less. See the Duke logo on his towel, no less. Really buys into that Blue Devil mentality already.
With his teammate Samaj Turner, defensive line stud last year, now at Duke as a first-year freshman.
Seems like a guy who's going to fit in well with that scheme that Elko runs too, right?
Tremendous athlete in the secondary.
Yes.
Jacob Smith, 5 of 10 in the first half. Opening play of the third quarter, Jalen Moore. Look at this kid go. Jalen Moore into Glenn territory. Jalen Moore is gone. Touchdown. He keeps counting them. Give him 3 tonight.
This kid is amazing. What else do you say about what he's done so far in his young career here at the high school level? Jalen Moore is a stud. You can write it down, you can put it down, we can say it all we want because it is factual at this point. Takes the handoff, and from there it's all him. Great blocking up front, but once he gets to the second level, we noted, he's as dangerous as anyone in the state and shows off the speed, the elusiveness, and a third touchdown tonight for number 2.
That's his second 60-yard score this year. This kid can run. Very efficient start to the second half. Lawson makes the extra point. And for more on this dynamic Reagan, Jalen Moore running back. Hannah Brady, entertain us.
Guys, sophomore running back Jalen Moore started on JV as a freshman last year and moved to varsity 6 games into the season, already making a name for himself. Moore has an offer from UNC Charlotte. Head coach McGee had nothing but positive things to say about him. He says that he works hard and he's just a natural running back. He's over here on the sideline celebrating after that touchdown. You could see nothing but positive things from him, guys.
Jalen Moore reminded Coach Josh McGee of a former tailback, John Gillette, who now plays in the SAC conference, Division II, but he said Jalen can be even more elusive. He has 7 rushes for 120 yards. Those are big numbers on every touch.
And we saw John Gillette a couple of years ago, and the upset that Reagan had over East Forsyth, I believe their first win against the Eagles away. Or on the road, excuse me. So
on the road again?
Yeah, exactly. But Gillette was a hard runner and a guy that was undersized on paper, but you could not really quantify how valuable he was to that offense until you saw him play and saw the energy that he brought to the rest of his team.
And now Jalen Moore's teaching his teammates how to count.
Correct.
You gotta love it.
But you can see the same mold. You can see the same passion for the game that John Gillette had and still has, I'm sure, as he's at Mars Hill University now. But you see it now with Jalen Moore. I mean, he has taken over the reins of this offense, and he is leading them into battle each and every night.
Ryder Lawson on the Hayes Jewelers kickoff. Lawson's got a boot. This will go to the 3-yard line. Siobhan brings it back. The freshman cuts it back. Uh-oh, tough decision. And Siobhan gets tackled around the 19. Tried to pull off the Reggie Bush, and he did not get much there.
Tried to reverse field, tried to set the defense up, or excuse me, the kickoff team up by going to the left a little bit and then cutting back to the right. But
Glenn's first drive was 80 yards, resulted in the field goal. Glenn has had less than 80 yards since. How do they change things in the second half?
I think they have to establish that ground game. It was the one thing that we really expected to see out of the Bobcats coming into this game, was them running the football because it's what they've done best over the years. But Crawford had a great start, and they thought they were going to be able to lean on their sophomore quarterback. Just kind of regressed as the half went on.
Crawford, 11 of 20 in that first half. First down handoff. That's a nice hole for Craig McGee. He gets 6, and that's a physical run on first down.
I mean, I'm really trying to think about the last time we saw Glenn run just a standard run. Snap back to the quarterback, hand it off to a ball carrier.
Maybe the first quarter?
Maybe. It really may have been on that first drive. They went all to the air basically the entire first half.
And McGee's the true tailback. 45 rushes this year for McGee.
But now empty backfield, you have the 4 receivers at the top of your screen like we saw many times in the first half.
Crawford, quick pass. McGee is ruled down. I think his leg was down there. And that's the challenge of these quick screens. You have to have great timing and rhythm to run this offense.
But see, this is where, if you're Glenn, you can start to look to take shots down the field because you saw Reagan was rushing upfield. I mean, there were 2 different defenders that could have gotten their hand on that football before it got to McGee. There's one, and then right away hit even after his knee was already down.
3rd and long. Here's the shot. Has a man. Oh, Dixon dropped it. That's a nice play design, though, from Glenn.
It sure was. You go one-on-one to the backside. It's a single matchup, and you're putting your receiver on an island to go make that play. He gets separation. He wins.
I mean, Mark, that's in the breadbasket.
He wins. Dixon just couldn't bring it in. It was an excellent pass across the field, no less, from Crawford.
That's a good stop for Josh McGee's defense, who just told Han at halftime, we got to win the next 24 minutes. They've won the first 2.
Resoundingly. Touchdown your first play of scrimmage in the second half, and then a 3-and-out.
Hey, welcome to varsity, Siobhan Martin McCullough. You're going to get your punt return, and then you're going to punt the ball in your second career varsity game. Cassidy Harvin back around midfield to receive. Oh, it's a fake. Here's a deep shot. Look at this pass. Caught. First down, Glenn. Zion Williams there. Whole trick out of the bag. Amari right through it.
Lee Cal. What a throw down the field, no less. And great catch to come back. The concentration to see the ball in the air, track it.
Mark, that's the first catch of his career.
Down the field, what a grab and what a time to make that catch.
I love high school football. Zion Williams, who? Not the Duke forward of the yesteryear, but this guy gets his first catch, 29 yards, and a penalty. How did I love this stuff? Antoine Stevenson, who had some words in the first half, he pulls out the tricks, and then a delay again, or sorry, penalty on the defense.
Man. It's the beauty of high school football. I mean, it is unpredictable. Unsung heroes come to play, and they can star on any given Friday night.
And down 2 scores, Antoine Stevenson knew he had to go for this.
Right. Because if you punt that football away and it goes back to Reagan and they put more points on the board, that's potentially a knockout punch here, even in the early stages of the third quarter.
1st and 5. Tough handoff. Nice break for Hayes. Oh, and he gets popped. Watch out. We have a crime scene. William Tapp lowers the shoulder.
And you see these teams are starting to get a little feisty now, aren't they? Glenn on the move. Tapp lays the wood, but great play design by Glenn. 2 pulling offensive linemen to the left side opens that one up.
And Hayes says, I'll take the 15 yards and pressing forward 1st down. Another 1st down. Toss. Hayes looks to stretch it, and he cannot. Callahan came in hard and with a flag. But you see the Glenn offensive line celebrating. And look at this hit by William Tapp.
Around the right side.
Batman.
Tapman.
Oh, there you go. I'm usually the clever one in this broadcast booth. With Mark Covert, Hannah Brady on the sideline, keeping things all calm and cool for the rest of us. I'm Evan Budrovich. Let's see the flag here.
What a drive, though, right now for Glenn.
So we have a personal foul on the defense. I didn't see that right away, but it was around the center position, right around the line of scrimmage. It was called on Connor Berry.
Talk about things that the teams needed to clean up coming out of halftime. Penalties, probably the biggest of anything.
10 penalties for Reagan. Now 1st and 10 nearing the red zone. Same design. Siobhan. Uh-oh, fumble! Who's got it? The freshman jumps on top of it. And Siobhan Martin McCullough nearly gave the football away.
Something that coaches will tell you if they're going to run those speed option plays like they was there, you've got to have a good relationship between the pitcher and the man they're pitching it to. That time, Siobhan didn't get out wide enough. Crawford just pitched it out.
We'll take the timeout. Injured player down for Reagan. We'll check on KJ Woody when we come back. Closed captioning for tonight's game is brought to you by Caring Hands. Caring Hands Home Health, hands-on, compassionate care. 2nd and 18 for Glenn. Play action. Crawford fires. Incomplete. Dixon couldn't squeeze it. 3rd and long coming up.
At some point, Q Miller has to come back into the equation. And you got to think after that first drive where he had 8 catches, that this defense for Reagan has really buckled down, maybe thrown some different coverages his way, a safety over the top, whatever it is. But Glenn's got to find a way to get him back into this ball game.
Sets up 3rd and 18. Q Miller, 8 receptions, none since the first quarter.
And you see him in the slot at the top of the screen to the right of the formation.
Crawford under pressure, backs up, down goes Crawford, and the football's loose. Recovered by Reagan. There's Jerima Robinson with the recovery.
How big is that? Not only do you force the fumble, you almost get a sack, force a fumble, and it's all the way back at the 45-yard line. So not only do you get the football back, but it goes so far backwards down the field that you get it back in excellent territory for an offense that has seen the ball 5 times, and has scored on 4 of those drives.
Wow, that's a costly turnover for Reagan. And Glenn could not afford a mistake. Play action. Here's some pressure. Smith finds the tight end. Martin breaks the tackle, and he gets into Glenn territory. Short gain there on 1st down.
Probably almost bet this is going to be a hold.
This is coming back. There's a flag. That's the first catch for the tight end, Martin, tonight.
It was.
Something Josh McGee noted this week was the maturity of Jacob Smith, dealing with offensive line injuries, new receiving core, and he's managed the offense tonight.
Well, he sure has, and that's something that I think before you become that prolific playmaker that everyone wants their quarterback to be, you got to understand just how to manage the game, manage the 10 guys around you.
Glenn is looking to move defenders all before the snap. Jalen Moore breaks one. Hezzies. Moore is loose. Breaks another. Come on, Jalen. Cut it back. Jalen Moore. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 touchdowns. That was 65 yards of Magnifico from Jalen Moore.
Jalen Moore is sick. He is running wild here in this football game. And it's because of the guys around him. They're allowing him to find space. But that time, on that play, it was all number 2. Breaking tackles in the backfield, turns the shoulders square, and then cuts back, a la Reggie Bush, to find his 4th touchdown of the night.
65-yard easy score for Moore. And that kick by Lawson is actually blocked. No good. Which is important. 3-score game. That being said, Jalen Moore has done all the scoring tonight. 4 touchdowns. And Reagan is rolling in this 3rd quarter. Surprise. Stay tuned to find out who's tonight's Carolina Classic Fair Player of the Game. I have a hint that it's Jalen Moore. The Carolina Classic Fair, there's magic in the fair.
Who are your sources?
4 touchdowns are my sources.
That's fair.
This kid's on a show tonight. 8 carries, 191 yards, and 4 tutties.
Really, what else do you have to say about it?
Well, I'll tell you that coming up, we'll have our play of the game presented by West Shore Home. West Shore Home bringing happiness to every home. Just take the last play we saw, the 65-yard touchdown, and run it back.
It's going to be, at least right now, a clean sweep by Reagan's running back, Jalen Moore. He has been a dynamo.
He had 4 touchdowns in the first 4 games. 4 more tonight.
I welcome you to the Jalen Moore Show.
That'll keep the Raiderettes busy here in Pufftown, North Carolina. 30 straight points scored by Reagan as this kick is pummeled around the 15. Boy, Reagan's clicking on all cylinders. That's Mr. Tap.
And you're starting to get the sense right now that this game is getting away from Glenn a little bit. Those mental mistakes that happened in the first half with all the penalties are going to start coming back to bite them here. Now,
it was 9-0 after the first quarter.
Right, and now you're staring a 21-point deficit in the face. And now more than ever, this Glenn offense needs to get some traction and get points on the board.
And I know William Tapp is a receiver by trade, but he hits like a true defender.
He sure does. And he's done a really nice job of converting over to the defensive side of the football and helping a team that has been ravaged by injuries so far this year.
2 starting safeties out in week 1 for Reagan. First down handoff. That's a good hole for McGee. He gets just short of a first down. There's still plenty of time here for Glenn, only down 3 touchdowns.
You're seeing them kind of move the tempo up a little bit. They were very methodical in the first half.
Were they ever?
Well, now down 21.
11-minute drive in the first quarter.
You've got to change your tactics. You got to start speeding up, getting on the football, and getting those plays in quick.
2nd and 1. Some adjustments from the OC. A little confusion here for Glenn. McGee cuts it back, and he's still short. Tackle there by William Tapp, setting up 3rd and medium.
It's no secret that Reagan is coming downhill and trying to play that short game right now.
Glenn's got to move here, 3rd and short. That goes to Alexander. Oh, and he's short. No first down. Connor Berry got him, and this turns into 4-down territory for Glenn.
You certainly think so. Again, at this point in the game, down 21, they need points badly.
And he needs a belt. 4th and short. Okay, the refs are going to check the spot, although it looks pretty short from here. I'd feed that guy. 6'7" Grayson Johnson, the senior. Put him in the backfield.
Yeah, look, he's going to fall forward. That's 2 yards.
So it is short. 4th down, Glenn. This is the game here in the 3rd quarter. Oh, and a timeout. Wow, Glenn calls a timeout on 4th and short. Interesting.
I may not like the look that Reagan was giving.
Oh, Antoine Stevenson has given his team some words of affirmation here.
So maybe a misassignment then. Miscommunication. Just a sign of a young team trying to mature, get better. That's exactly what this Glenn team is. Got a lot of pieces on here that here in the next year or 2 can really make some noise, but right now it's all about learning experience and getting them educated on how to play the game at a varsity level.
Stay tuned. In the 4th quarter, we'll have our Linder Turf and Tractor scoring summary. You can get a great deal on your next Kubota at Linder Turf and Tractor coming up on McConnell Drive off I-40. Every time I drive home from work now, I see a Kubota tractor. It's like you do the read, and then like Apple, it just comes to life and it starts planting in your brain messaging subliminal. You know, talk around my Alexa.
Sponsored ad.
I'm a big lactate-free milk guy, and then now I get all these ads for lactate-free milk.
You're going to get another like 10 tonight.
It's a true disease, my friend. Lactose intolerance.
I believe it.
Don't mess with it.
I don't have to worry about it, personally.
William Tapp, he is intolerant to missing tackles. This guy's been hitting everybody hard tonight. 4th and 1. Going for it, Glenn. Shorts! No first down. Robinson on the stop.
What a play. He came firing off the edge, no less. Usually when you get those losses in the backfield, it's because guys come straight up the middle.
Is that a face mask, by the way?
No, I don't think so.
Wow. Wow. So it was 2nd and 2, and Glenn could not get 2 yards in 3 runs.
Wow.
And this might end the game right here with one more touchdown.
And I'll tell you what, those last 4 plays on that drive for Glenn, Reagan's defense only had 1 single high safety. So they were bringing an extra guy down into the box.
It's a pretty easy night for Jacob Smith. Put the ball into Jalen Moore's hands.
Let him go to work.
1st and 10. Play action. End zone shot. A little past his target, looking for Cassidy Harvin.
He does a good job going down the field, defending that pass, working the receiver back to the middle of the field. Smith obviously thought he was going to go outside. DB wins that fight going down the field and messing up the position down for the receiver.
Jacob Smith looks like he's sweating his tail off. Is he in a hot dog eating contest with Joey Chestnut?
I don't know if he's at a hot dog eating contest. A little bit of water, getting the jersey.
2nd and 10. Play action. Tap, nice catch. Taps the sideline, breaks one, gets a block to the 5-yard line. William tapped there for 20.
He really wants that touchdown. He had 2 opportunities in the first half. And at this end of the field, no less, to score a touchdown. Could not get the ball to him. Now he has an opportunity, gets inside the 10. Some nice moves, good play call too. He's wide open along that Reagan sideline.
That's a Crescent Ford first down. Crescent Ford, a high point.
Now you got to think, right here inside the 5, it's got to be Jalen Moore time.
Here's 1st and goal. More motions. Play action. Pressure. Screen. Oh, look at the tight end rumble to the 1. Jackson Martin just short. He was bumped down by Jazir Dixon.
Well, defense was thinking what I thought. Follows Moore out a little bit, use him as a decoy. It's a smart play call inside the 10. Up off to your tight end and gets those dirty yards inside.
It's a yard short.
Could not get there.
So Moore will move out at receiver. Here's Gutierrez in the backfield. 2nd and goal. Moore to the left of the quarterback. Sitting on 4 touchdowns. Gutierrez. Nope. He got body slammed at the 1.
Glenn meeting Gutierrez in the backfield was huge. Saw 2 runs from him tonight where he powered through defenders. Just stopping him at the point of attack and not allowing him to get going behind those shoulder pads was an excellent job. Just getting that pressure up the middle.
That was Braylon Coleman Turner on the wrestling tackle. And now Jalen Moore comes out on 3rd and goal. In comes Jackson Martin, the tight end.
Bigger lineup here.
Movement. So it'll move from 3rd and goal to
3rd and goal.
Half a yard?
Yep.
Encroachment. 11 penalties on Glenn tonight.
Now you kind of wonder, with Gutierrez in the ball game, maybe you use him almost as a lead blocker, and it's Jacob Smith taking it himself.
3rd and goal. Gutierrez gets shoved into the end zone, and I think that's an illegal play. Assisting the running back. Oh my gosh. Because Gutierrez would have scored regardless.
Yep.
I'll admit, I have to read the book of what this is officially called, but I know this is illegal.
I would agree with you there.
Illegal aiding, illegal assisting.
So I guess I'm confused because I always thought the rule was you could not pull the ball carrier as a fellow offensive player. Pushing is
well, there's one thing to push, and there's another to slingshot.
I guess.
Okay.
So was it a loss of 10?
From the 5, 3rd and goal, which will take a couple yards back. 12 penalties for Glenn.
It's a little tougher down here near the goal line because you know you've got to get penetration. You have to fire off the football. So you got to hone in a little bit more, stay more patient.
That was Keyshawn Gregory who had the touchdown. Remember in the first quarter, that fumble recovery touchdown. Martin checks in at tight end. 3rd and goal. Gutierrez, he is well short. Look at Aaron Boyd jump on top of him. Aaron Boyd's a big dude.
Sure is. He blew up that play, and it was one-on-one. And even Gutierrez, for as good as he has been tonight on some of those runs and powering through defenders, he had nowhere to go there. Saw a little bit of paint fly off the helmet there, too.
It's like me wrestling my puppy. Big boy.
That hard?
4th and goal. Gutierrez dives, touchdown. 5 rushing scores for the Reagan Raiders.
Jalen Moore has the first 4 tonight. Now Gutierrez gets in on the action. The goal line back for this offense finally cashes in, just sneaking the ball over the goal line. Good push by his offensive line up front, and then the awareness to where he was on the field to extend and get the ball over the goal line.
Let's see. Yes. Did break the plane. Yep. That extra point somehow got through. There was a lot of pressure. And this game going Reagan's way in the second half. And Gutierrez is going to rip his whole helmet off. And Jalen Moore's like, yeah, I guess I can share the love. 4 touchdowns for me and 1 for you, Aaron Gutierrez. His first rushing touchdown.
Looks like he staying out. May have gone out there on special teams. They're going to give him a break on this one. I mean, the way that Reagan...
Mark, this will be Reagan's first win of the year. How does this transform the Raiders club?
Well, this is what they've been waiting for. You go on the road against Marvin Ridge and against Mooresville to start the year. You welcome Grimsley at home, and then you play a tight game against East Forsyth last week. It's just been a tough schedule, and this is a schedule that Josh McGee knew this team was taking on, and there was reasons for it. So that when league play came, you were going to be more than ready for whatever was thrown at you.
Are you saying that because of Jalen Moore?
Sure. Tonight, absolutely.
Who has 5 carries of 20 or more yards, including 4 touchdowns.
Right. But this is what the schedule that early slate was set up for, so that when conference play came around, you were going to be able to go toe-to-toe with anyone. The most misleading 0-4 start in the state of North Carolina. You look at their opponents, some of the best out there.
Ryder Lawson on the boot. Siobhan brings it out. He fumbled the last kick. And he's hit hard at the 22 on the Hayes Jewelers kickoff, tackled by Steven Scales. How have the wheels fallen off the wagon here for Glenn in the second half?
The penalties have certainly not helped. They have not really gotten anything going offensively, and I think that's because Glenn hasn't adjusted to what Reagan has done defensively. The Raiders have come out here and challenged them to now really beat them through the air. They've taken away a lot of those short passes, and Glenn has not capitalized by taking some shots deep down the field, and they haven't been able to find Q Miller since the first quarter.
8 catches in that first half for Miller, none since. First down toss. Well, here he is in the backfield. Oh, hard hit. So just a gain of 1 there for Craig McGee. And Connor Berry on the stop.
See some of the shiftiness from these Glenn backs tonight. They are very fleet on their feet, but they're not getting a whole lot of help out on the edge, and Reagan has so many defenders near the line of scrimmage, they're just ganging up on them.
Think back to that 4th down fumble and stop when Glenn was marching. That could have been a 2-score game, and now it's big difference.
You can go back and think of that, and you can also think about right before halftime, about how they were around midfield and they just completely put the brakes on a drive that was moving a little bit.
2nd and 9, back to McGee. He runs into 6, 7 defenders after a short 3-yard gain. The running game at Glenn has not been doing anything productive tonight.
And they really seem to abandon that from the start. I mean, that first drive was the most methodical drive I've ever seen, where the ball was predominantly put into the air instead of on the ground. That's what they went to. Reagan's now challenged them with all these guys around the line of scrimmage, and they're playing downhill.
So McGee gets treated by the athletic training staff. He'll exit. Critical third down. Hayes in motion. Crawford tipped, nearly picked. Great effort by Herrera to knock it in the air.
Good hands, getting up against the defensive line. If you can't get home, put your hands up in the air. Nice play by Brian Herrera on
Put your hands up in the air. Put your hands up in the air. Brian Herrera is a crafty little defensive lineman.
Sure is. He's made some solid plays tonight. One of those guys on this Reagan team who really understands his role well. Solid player on the edge, does a good job of containing the run, but also likes to push people around a little bit.
That could be a great game next week. Davie County and Reagan would battle for second place in the Central Piedmont.
Of course, currently Davie is actually up on East Forsyth right now. Another massive game in the year.
Punt unit, Siobhan comes in. This is a short kick. And a nice tackle at midfield by Glenn. And Mario Armstrong on the tackle. Playing down Harvin.
Still some words being shot back and forth between these two squads. There's definitely some chippiness.
After an 0-4 start, Reagan's head coach, Josh McGee, said, we have not lost faith in our ability to win games. But tonight, we've seen that ability turn into a win.
And it's really come to a point where this team, I think, has established its identity. You're going to hand it off, get it to your running backs. They can do damage. Play behind them.
Quarterback throws it forward. That's a nice catch, all things considered. William Tapp, he gets a couple of yards there, out to the 45.
That's a dangerous throw, though, by Jacob Smith. He waited and waited and waited for an RPO to open up. He's lucky no one got to him before he was able to get that football off. But even then, you're throwing into a crowd. That is asking for trouble later on down the road. See here, he just waits and waits, and he had a defender on him. But you're right, nice catch by Tapp, and then the effort as well after.
That's a hard kid to tackle.
It is.
2nd and 5, Tapp in motion. Moore. Look at Jalen Moore sprint outside. No way. Broken tackle. Jalen Moore down the sideline. Adios. A flag. The only thing stopping Jalen Moore tonight. 2 flags.
He's something else, but when you're aided, looked like it might be coming back with a hold.
What do you got for us, Tommy Bryant? A busy man tonight. Over 25 combined penalties. It was on Cassidy Harvin with the hold.
And really not just even Jalen Moore, but penalties have been the only thing that's really stopped this Reagan offense tonight.
Question mark?
I don't know
if Amari Wright's making the tackle there.
I'll be honest with you, I think that was just good blocking down the field.
Nevertheless, 2nd and 5, they run it back.
But it's been the only thing that's held this offense back. Outside that first drive, that was only one play with the strip sack for a touchdown. They've been firing on all cylinders since.
Smith, play action, good protection. Oh, incomplete, hard hit. There from Zion Williams. That's the physical style that Antoine Stevenson likes to see.
Yeah, and that's the defense that we're used to seeing from Glenn. When they're able to attack. Good solid play this time. Saw it in the first half as well from Amari Wright. Getting those receivers up in the air that time. Really good job by Williams to grab the legs and not allow them to get flipped over. Sound football play.
3rd and 5. Moore, elusive all night. Breaks a tackle. Moore stays on his feet. Oh, churning his legs like his life depends on it. Inside the 10. And there's another flag. This is coming back. Give this man some credit, though. Jalen Moore's doing everything.
Oh, he sure is. Again, he's getting to the second level with such ease. So you got to credit his offensive line because they're getting off the football and they're getting to their guys and they're making the blocks they need to allow him to get there. But from there, one-on-one, it's a mismatch almost every single time.
I don't know how you stop this guy, Jalen Moore.
Just look in the backfield. There's 1, 2, and they start dragging defenders with him. I mean, the power. And we're talking about a kid who's 175. He's dragging defenders with him.
And he looks exhausted. 2 big runs negated by penalty.
He has had his fair share of yardage in this game tonight.
Gutierrez back in at tailback. And Reagan will milk every second of the clock as we head to the 4th quarter. It's all Reagan Raiders tonight. 12 minutes away from a first win. It's been a good one so far. We'll come back for the 4th quarter. We return here to Poptown. Start of the 4th quarter here in Poptown, North Carolina. A battle for right in the middle of the Central Piedmont Conference. Reagan 0-1 in the league, Glenn 1-0. East Forsyth, reigning champions, have just lost tonight. They're 1-1. It's a wide open conference. 3rd down, quarterback scramble. Smith runs for his life. He moves forward for a couple of yards and is 10 short of the sticks. And now you got to keep an eye on Jacob Smith. He got hit hard. Keyshawn Gregory on the tackle.
Maybe went down a little awkward, but I got to tell you, in a point in the game where you're trying to tie things up here as far as putting a bow on this one, if you're Reagan, I like the decision there by Jacob Smith. Instead of forcing the football down the field, he kept his eyes, see if anyone came open, makes a safe play, just tucks in and runs.
4th and medium. Reagan had the fumble on the first play of the game. They have scored every drive since. Very efficient.
I think this was the offense and the team that we were waiting to see through the first 4 weeks of the season.
4th and 6. Jalen Moore needs 6. Breaks 2 tackles. He's got the first down. And he should have been brought down 5 yards ago with a flag down. I sure hope that's on the defense.
I mean, you couldn't bring him down if he was in a telephone booth.
Oh, that's a face mask, according to Jalen Moore.
He's signaling it. I'll be inclined to believe him.
There you go. The more we watch Jalen Moore, the more we fall in love.
Just shakes off a tackle. I mean, this is right in the heart of this defense. It's not outside. Most of his damage has been done outside tonight, but that was right in the heart of that Glenn defense. If there has been one play that exemplifies how tonight is gone, it may be that one.
One of the best players in the state at 4A football, and only a sophomore. Here's Moore, has to hold on to it. Smith fires. Nice catch, Summers up the sideline. Jerry Summers pushed out inside the 15. And a flag might bring this back. Blocking the back.
See Smith, good decision making, hangs onto the football, but gets it out there. Summers was there, I guess. Got him on a hold along the sideline.
That's one thing Reagan will have to take before a matchup with Davie County this week, the amount of penalties.
And how huge that matchup is now. I mean, even more so than when we brought it up a couple minutes ago, Evan.
We'll see Davie County against Mount Tabor in 2 weeks.
This is a conference that it really feels like for the first time in years is almost anyone's conference to take.
Jalen Rayner graduated for East Forsyth. That's a wide open league this year.
Yes.
East has just gone down to Davie. And this 4A Central Piedmont, there's 6-7 teams. Like West Forsyth had a better year.
There's an 0-4 team on this field tonight that, based on what we've seen here tonight, has a real shot.
Smith throws underneath. Harvin gets the penalty yardage back. So 2nd and long.
I mean, how absurd is it that a 0-4 team is as alive in this conversation as anyone else?
Right now, Davie 2-0, West Forsyth about to be 2-0. There's a lot of opportunity here. Teams that were at the bottom of the league last year.
Yep.
2nd down, keeper. Smith on the move. This is a good decision. Just slide and bring it down after a gain of 5.
I've been impressed by Jacob Smith. It hasn't been a ton of flashy plays tonight. It hasn't been those throws deep down the field and a ton of touchdowns and yards. But it's been playing within himself and playing with what the game has given him tonight. Not overreaching and trying to make plays that are unnecessary. It's been Jalen Moore tonight. He's understood that, and he's done his part when it hasn't been his backfield mate.
3rd and long, plenty of time. Smith throws deep for tap and missed him with a flag here. This is in the area of holding. So Harry Simpson, who's a sophomore lineman, he had to replace Sam Pendleton, who's now at Notre Dame. That's been a big adjustment for Reagan, losing 2 offensive linemen to FBS football.
And that's where part of that adjustment has been through the earlier parts of the season. The offensive line is really one of those areas where you've got to have continuity across all 5 of those guys. They've got to know not just how to play football, but they have to learn how to play with each other, because you're trying to have 5 guys move as one body. That's hard. It is undescribably hard in some ways to someone who hasn't played that position before. I mean, even as a defensive lineman in your former life, you had to know.
I was grabbed a lot.
Right, well, hey, but when you were stunting, right, like you had to know where you were going and trust that your other guy was going to go to where he needed to be as well. So you're expecting those guys to move as one unit, and it's more difficult if they haven't had that time to do it together.
Reagan has gashed Glenn on the ground tonight, over 200 yards. There's Jalen Moore, who's been a big part of it, back in here on 4th and 8. Smith backpedals. Moore, nice catch. Give him a block, and there's your 1st down. He needed 8, and he gets at least 15.
Well played that time. Pass wasn't the greatest from Smith, but Moore goes out and gets it in front of some of his offensive linemen, and then just does what he's done all night. Speed ahead. No nonsense there. Just get the necessary yardage and then some.
It takes 3 to 4 players to tackle him.
And he had some great blocks around the outside. I thought he was in front of his offensive lineman that time. They actually got out ahead of him. Gave him some nice space to work with before he was even touched.
Inside the red zone, Smith, Gutierrez. Even Gutierrez is falling forward. There has to be a mental aspect to this when your team won't go down easy.
Well, there sure is, and I think that also comes back to coaching. Teaching these guys, like, hey, when you're going to get tackled, it's okay. If you fall forward and you gain an extra yard or two, that's that much less space that we have to go to pick up a new first down or to get to the goal line to score. It is a mentality in and of itself.
We were here last year for Jacob Smith's first career start.
Yep.
Now he's finally got his driver's license. And he's riding the van of Gutierrez and Jalen Moore on the ground. Here's Smith throwing. Nice dart on the slant. Oh, it's dropped. Wow. Harvin. He had that touchdown.
He sure did. That was a bullet to Harvin.
Harvin, don't look at your quarterback, man. That was on you.
I think he knew it. Look at this. Just the play action of Gutierrez. That is perfect. That's the pass you want.
Okay, the ground affected that a little bit.
I guess the question is, do you say he wasn't across the goal line that he did? Because in that case, it shouldn't matter.
Well, you have to maintain possession.
I guess.
3rd and 8. Reagan has scored in every drive in the second half. Gutierrez on the stretch. That's going nowhere quick. Good stop by a player wearing number 5. And I'll be honest, Glenn does not have a number 5 listed on the roster, so we'll check on that. But a good tackle.
It was, out on the edge, no less. Really nice job getting Gutierrez to the ground because he had some space to the outside. Does that feel like the Zach Ertz play from the Super Bowl a few years back? Because he caught the ball ahead of the goal line.
But he didn't maintain possession. Field goal attempt here from 35 yards. And Ryder Lawson bangs it through. We'll take a timeout. Reagan rolling. 6 minutes away from their first win here on our Friday Night Rivals game of the week. Closed captioning for tonight's game is brought to you by Caring Hands. Caring Hands Home Health, hands-on compassionate care, available around the clock. A little more of a methodical drive, 14 plays, 30 yards in 6 minutes. Reagan starting to work the clock a bit in the second half. And setting up what could be a dynamic matchup, Reagan and Davie County, who's 2-0. And the winner of that game moves into first place in the Central Piedmont.
Sure does. And how big that is. Again, this is a conference that now you think about it, East goes down, and East could realistically be 0-2. Reagan could be 2-0, but things shake out the way that they do, and this is the conference that is up for grabs. Absolutely anyone in the conference can come out and win it this year.
Remember, Glenn won the title 2 years ago. It has been a topsy-turvy league. That kick goes into the end zone. Glenn, meanwhile, at 1-1. Things are not over just yet for Antoine Stevenson's club, but it gets a lot tougher the next 2 weeks. They'll head to West Forsyth, who is playing some great football in 23.
Adrian Snow, the longtime coach, decides to step down from his role. New regime comes in, and they have done an excellent job underneath Kevin Wallace's tutorship at the head coach spot. That'll be an exciting game because we've, of course, got many games left in our schedule for the rest of the year, but that last game of our broadcast season is East and Western. First sight.
Halfway through the high school football season. Grimsley, #1 team in the state. They've continued that dominance with another 40-point performance. Here's a toss out of Adam Alexander. Nice little run for 10 yards. That's the longest rushing play of the second half for Glenn.
And maybe the best looking read option play that we've seen out of Glenn tonight, no less. Good relationship, just get it out to Alexander, has the speed to get around the edge, move the chains.
Adam Alexander, who still needs a belt, but he does pick up the Riddle Tractor first down. That can't be comfortable, right?
Look good, feel good.
Back to Alexander. He does get back to the line of scrimmage. How does Glenn bounce back next week? How do they respond from this tough loss?
Well, and this is obviously a comment that goes for both sides, but penalties obviously have to be cleaned up. But I think it's about finding an identity. Much as we question kind of Reagan and as far as where they were, especially from an offensive standpoint, and finding an identity, they found theirs tonight seemingly in what they want to do. I can't say the same for Glenn. You can't really tell if this is a physical team that wants to run the football at the point of attack. You can't tell if it's one that wants to sling the football around the yard. They've got to establish that, and they've got to establish it quick.
Looking for Miller. There's a flag. Pass interference. Oh, we have a fight away from the play. Interesting. Everything's okay.
Just jarring back and forth.
That was Rain Booker in a little shoving match with Carter Powell. That flag was not related to this play, though. So that'll be a first down. How dangerous is this Reagan team the next 5 weeks?
I think they've got a chance to really shock the state, this area, really as a whole. Again, you wouldn't expect a team that's 0-4 to be in contention for a conference championship, but that is certainly where they are after tonight's performance.
There's a deep shot. That's incomplete. Searching for Nasir Staton. You look at 4A football, Grimsley, #1 team in the state. Butler down in the Charlotte area, #2. And then locally in the Greensboro area, East Forsyth, top 10 in 4A football. There is an opportunity now for some 4A teams to make a run in this division.
Butler returning to its place. One of those historic programs down in the Charlotte area.
Little screen pass to Alexander. Dixon breaks the tackle. He's got the first down. Able to move the chains. This is a drive we had not noticed from Glenn until that very first one of the game.
Yeah. Well, they've been able to put something together here, and that's where you want to build off of. Late stages of the game, find some things that work. You go into film and watching it with your guys at the beginning of next week, and you can take away some stuff. There's been fight. You can't say there hasn't been fight from Glenn this entire game. It just hasn't resulted in points.
Crawford finds a completion. Right now in 4A football, I mean, Grimsley might be the runaway favorite in this side of the bracket, but here's West Forsyth slowly playing great football. They're 3-1, and after a losing record last year, they could be a heavy hitter.
But I mean, think about when you're looking down the list here, just knowing where some of these schools are. The Western bracket, potentially in the state of North Carolina for 4A, could be a who's who sort of situation between Grimsley, Butler, East. I mean, it is. Chambers has been up there the last several years, formerly Vance, Mooresville up there, West Forsyth. I mean, there are teams that can really play some daggum good football.
Crawford on the play action finds Dixon. He drags a couple of men for the first down. Nice gain there of 6.
And they're all
Reagan,
right there.
who's made the playoffs 3 straight years and lost in the first round, sometimes is the higher seed.
But if they go on, let's say they, hypothetically speaking, they go out here and win a conference, they're going to be as dangerous as anyone at that point.
And I think if Reagan gets above 500, they'll make the postseason.
Oh, I don't think there's a question.
Even if they're 6-4 or 5-5, they might get in.
It's where high school football is a little bit strange compared to the other ranks of football. Your overall record doesn't matter as much as your conference play.
Crawford back to work. Crawford takes a shot. End zone opportunity. Dixon short.
Nice coverage there from Steven Scales.
Looked like Dixon may have overrun the football that time, just couldn't locate it quickly enough to come back and play the football. He had separation. Sure has a play to make there. Crawford put it where he needed to.
So Mount Airy's playing Star Mount tonight, the matchup of undefeated 1A teams.
And
Mount Airy is up 47-15.
Not surprised by that.
Mount Airy might be the best team in the state that's not Grimsley.
That I don't know.
Invest in it, my friend. They looked amazing week 1 against East Surrey. Crawford takes his shot, and on second down, fires high.
There is a very good team in the Mount Airy Granite Bears. I have no doubt in that.
I know it's 1A football, Mark, but they have rolled every team on the schedule.
Sure. And look, when you come
and beat.
Well, at the end of the day, the conversation is you took care of who you needed to take care of, and that's what Mount Airy almost always does. So they have handled their business the way that we know they should, and that I'm sure they know that they should.
Movement here from Reagan defensively on third down. The real test is who's the best team in Greensboro. Is it Dudley? Is it Grimsley? Can anyone give Grimsley a game at this point?
Yep. As long as they stay healthy, you're going to have a hard time competing with Grimsley. Dudley's almost always going to be up there. That's another one of the historic programs in the Greensboro area that always seems to find its way towards the top of the polls and the rankings. But for my money, what we've seen and what we know, Grimsley is the cream of the crop.
3rd and 5. Out route on the swing, and a late tackle for Steven Scales. That's a penalty after the catch by Adam Alexander. Been a busy night for flags.
Sure has.
It's not 6 Flags in California, that's for sure.
You would think that there is some sort of deal with Tide or something like that for the amount of laundry that's been on the field tonight.
This is the type of drive, if you're Glenn, you wanted to see Antoine Stevenson a bit more tonight.
Building blocks. We haven't seen a drive like this since the first possession of the football game. So for them, bookending it is good, but everything in the middle, not so much.
Fresh set of downs. End zone shot, incomplete. Just behind Rigo. We've talked about Stevens growing up. I think Crawford's in the same boat here too.
That's really what it kind of seems like, right? They're all a developmental process for quarterbacks, and especially when you're so young, you come in after a year of splitting reps with another guy at the quarterback spot. It's tough.
Screen. Here's Alexander. Broken tackle. Alexander fumbles the football. Oh, he's ruled down at the 1. Inside the 1 at that.
Alexander, a great play, follows his blockers, gets down the field and trying to stretch for the goal line to get that elusive touchdown this offense has been looking for all night long. Ball pops out after his shoulder or elbow had hit the ground.
Yep, he was down. So Glenn scored 9 points in the first 10 minutes of this game. Now 1st and goal. Crawford feeds Alexander. He keeps churning and dives in for the touchdown. First rushing score for Adam Alexander.
Just a really nice drive by Glenn. Good way to end the game, really on a high note, come down the field. Again, another methodical drive that we haven't seen since their first possession of the game. They find pay dirt finally for their first score offensively of the night.
Now Glenn will go for 2, play the point battle. Again, though, just if you had the belt, it would probably help him a little bit if you're Adam Alexander. 2-point try. Crawford has a man. Nice catch. Keena Rigo for the 2-point play. We'll take a timeout. Last 3 minutes to put a cupcake on this final performance. We'll come back with more football after this. The Reagan marching band is large, they're powerful, and they're pretty darn good, too. A ton of credit to this local high school.
I will give you credit for calling a marching band powerful, because I got to tell you, I think that's the first time I've ever heard someone say that.
When you got 100+ rolling into a stadium.
It's a big band. Like, it is like legitimately almost at any level, even at college. Collegiately, that would be a large band.
Here's the Hayes Jewelers kickoff. It's been the Jalen Moore show tonight for Reagan. He hasn't played in this fourth quarter, but 10 carries, 208 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
Kid is special. And the scary thing is he's a sophomore. So realistically, you got to think he's going to get better.
You said that like Ron Burgundy. Kickoff here. A little onside pooch. Wait a second. Hold on. And did it go 10 yards, though? Oh, no, it didn't.
It looked like from here it was touched, yeah, well before that. It went past the 50-yard line.
That means it'll be Reagan football. Let's see. The onside kicks have been executed well tonight. Yep, that was before 10. TK King touched it. There's a fumble. New quarterback in. He gets hit hard. TK King on the stop. Chance for Brady Robinson to get some reps.
New quarterback into the game. Lo and behold, another sophomore.
We haven't had the chance to ask Josh McGee much about Brady Robinson, but he said Brady's been a great supportive teammate of Jacob Smith. The benefit of being up big as opposed to losing your first 4 games.
Sure, you get some burn. Just letting the clock run down as much as possible.
1 first down should do it. 2nd and 15. Uh-oh. That's a turnover. There's a fumble. And scooped up by the big man, Aaron Boyd. Well, hold on a second here, Mark. We got a game. I know it's 23 points, so it's a couple of scores, but it's not over yet.
Well, they certainly have an opportunity here to really close down that gap, but it's got to be fast. But 2 plays, 2 fumbles. Just a high snap. Robinson cannot corral it. And Glenn, opportunistic, falls on top of that football.
Let's see if Glenn can take advantage here. 2.5 minutes to go. First down play action. Crawford. Nice grab, Dozier. Flag in. This might be coming back.
Maybe some offensive pass interference that time. Taking one of the defenders with him that may have been covering Dixon.
Your guess is as good as mine.
I wonder if we should have tried officiating bingo tonight.
Sudoku?
Yeah.
There's a lot of numbers in both those. Busy night for Tommy Bryant. That's on the defense. 32nd penalty for 380 combined yards of penalties. That's like Jalen Moore tonight on the ground.
Just not that many attempts.
This does put Glenn in the scoring position all the way to the 22. You get a touchdown here, you get a 2-point conversion, get an onside kick, another touchdown. Yeah, we got something interesting here.
And numerous other scenarios.
Crawford, swing route. Alexander breaks one. Alexander stays in bounds and gets the first. So a 15-yard gain for Adam Alexander, who's become a nice option in this fourth quarter.
He sure has. He has been on top of it. They've gotten the football in his hands. He's been able to showcase his ability. He's made the most
tractor first down. Real tractor making tall grass short and making belts fall off the loop. First and 10. End zone shot. Oh, quick touchdown, Rigo. And hold on a second here, Mark. This is getting interesting with 1:52 to go.
Come down, you go for 2 now to make it a 15-point game.
You don't have to go for 2 here either.
You don't necessarily.
And actually, you shouldn't go for 2 here, because if you miss it, it would be a 3-score game, right?
Depends on how much you trust your regular special teams unit.
Good question.
Saw 1 PAT blocked already tonight.
Jose Benitez, the kicker. Jarrell Crawford for the 2-point play. This is a must convert. Crawford hits, and Crawford goes down. So that'll wrap this game up. Robinson on the stop. That's why I think you go for 1.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I agree with you, because, you know, they'll tell you, well, if you go for 1, it's still a 16-point game. Well, then, yeah, I can still have the chance to convert that 2-point conversion on the next touchdown. But I think at that point you're talking about a situation where you're just trying to get back into the ball game somehow.
3 plays, 43 yards in 30 seconds. And the Raiderettes are getting a little cold outside. We have a tropical storm coming up from the Florida area. And if you watch our chief meteorologist here on ABC 45, you can learn a little bit about the weather. It's Jonathan Wendt. He'll teach you a lesson.
But it certainly feels like football weather tonight, doesn't it? Minus the tropical storm kind of bearing down on us a little bit, but
more on the eastern part of the state.
Sure.
So we'd send our thoughts out to anyone on the coastline.
It's always nice this time of year. You start feeling that brisk little breeze blowing through the air.
The sweaters come out of the closet.
Leaves on the trees, changing colors.
Organizing all the clothes you need for the season.
That's spring.
Getting the Christmas trees ready.
That's winter. Hey, don't do that. It's the middle of September. Come on now.
2 straight touchdowns for Glenn, but it won't be enough. Down 17, 3-score game. Benitez, what do you know, onside kick. This goes 10 yards. Scooped up by Reagan.
That wasn't a bad kick.
Very good kick.
That was not a bad kick.
Now Glenn's got to teach their up back men to go after the ball.
Yes.
A lot of them have been running past the ball.
Right.
So a little bit of coaching can happen.
Yep.
I think both teams can practice some onside kicks.
It's a very nuanced play. Like, you gotta. It's not as simple, I think, as a lot of people make it out to be. Because there's a lot of science and a lot of things that can happen in that moment. A lot of different strategies, just literally based on how the ball bounces.
Brady Robinson in for his 2nd drive, hangs on to the football. And this run is going to go backwards in a hurry. Oh, hold on. Aaron Boyd with some extracurriculars. He brings down Gutierrez. I don't know if Aaron Boyd didn't hear the whistle or what, but
he just kept playing through the whistle.
Good news for these fans, there's been 33 flags tonight, so the flags have been thrown.
Someone really wants to do laundry tonight.
As we tick down the final minute of the Central Piedmont Conference matchup. This will be Reagan's 2nd straight win over Glenn, something they hadn't done in 10 years. There's another loss. 5-yard loss that time.
Again, give Glenn credit where credit is due, because they have not gone away in this ball.
We have a timeout called by Glenn. Yeah, let's show tonight's player of the game. And you guessed it, it's Jalen Moore, our Carolina Classic Fair player of the game. There's magic in the fair.
I can't really say this was much of a shock to anyone here in the booth, here in the stands, at home. It was just a showcase performance by the sophomore tailback, showcasing everything from his speed, his vision, his power, his savvy. Everything was working for Jalen Moore here tonight, and rightfully so. He is our player of the game.
10 carries, 208 with 4 touchdowns.
Is that good?
Well, one of those is also our play of the game. West Shore Home play of the game. West Shore Home, America's most admired home remodeling brand. I mean, this one was great, too.
It sure was. Just the stutter, the hezzy, as you called it, live, to set everything up, then breaks a couple tackles, and
then counts his touchdowns on the way to the camp.
Yeah, exactly. Just reversing field. It's been exciting to watch.
Can't wait to see that kid in college in 2 years.
I can't wait to watch him over the next 2 years here at the high school level. But whoever has the opportunity to recruit him and get him to their program at the collegiate level, he's going to be special. He knows how to play the game of football.
Robinson chucks one deep. Oh, it's dropped. That was a pick for Wright. You know, now you look back to that 2-point botched conversion. Because if that pick gets returned for a touchdown, then it's a 7-point game or 8-point game with 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
Then it's not over.
Yeah. I mean, it makes a huge difference. I think there's several different points in this game where Glenn can come back and say, like, well, what if something different happened here? What if we went for it at the end of the first half? What if we don't have so many penalties? It's a game where you think about that stuff constantly. But for them, they can't slow down because of the schedule they have, the opponents they have left to play. They don't really have the opportunity to stop and smell the roses and think about what if.
Robinson will punt. I like him as a punter. The ball was boomed. Now the wind's like 30 miles an hour at his back, but that kick was boomed.
Play to the field.
To the 17-yard line. Aaron Gutierrez, man. Good punt. Reagan, who's made the playoffs for the last 5 years. This was a must-win game. You drop to 0-5, and you're not making the postseason. But now at 1-1 in the league, the schedule's wide open.
It had to happen at some point where not only were they going to get a win, but this was going to be a team that showed those first couple of weeks what they got from there, how they grew from those experiences, when that was going to finally come into play and they were going to put it all together. Josh McGee said he wanted to put together a full game, all 48 minutes. He can very much testify that the Reagan Raiders have done that here tonight.
Final chances for Crawford, who takes a shot, and that's incomplete.
I'll tell you what, these corners for Reagan on an island, we can talk about Landon Callahan until we're blue in the face, but for a secondary that lost its 2 starting safeties at the beginning of the year, you have Cassidy Harvin and William Tapp, 2 of your receivers back there playing there, and then Stephon Scales on the other side. This is a secondary that's really improved, and they have proved themselves to be very good football players in their own right, especially when you put them on an island.
Crawford throws the screen. Rigo dropped it. That was the challenge for Reagan. Got gashed in the passing game against Grimsley. Many teams have done that 2 weeks ago, but Reagan has come back, and the pass defense holding Glenn under 150 yards passing.
And they were competitive against Marvin Ridge. They had ample opportunities to go on the road and beat Mooresville. The Grimsley game is what the Grimsley game was. And then you hold a 2-touchdown lead against East Forsyth in the second half.
As this run goes nowhere, setting up 4th down. Final play of the game.
And we're not talking about a team that was just blown out week after week, and then suddenly they put it all together tonight. This is a team that has been on the verge of putting a game like this on paper, from paper to the field, and they finally did it here tonight.
The drought is over. The Reagan Raiders get its first win of the season. Defending home turf, moving to 1-1 in the conference, taking down Glenn 40-23. We'll take the timeout, wrap things up. The Reagan Raiders get the home win. We'll come back to finish this thing out.
coach, you said you knew you hadn't lost the ability to win a football game, and you certainly proved that tonight. What did you like about this win?
Just really proud of our guys. You know, it's been a tough 4 games for us early, but proud of the fight. They handle adversity well. We come back every day ready to work, and you know, these guys have earned this one tonight.
And then to talk about, it was just winning on all sides of every side of the ball tonight. Talk about the toughness of these guys.
Yeah, we played with great energy. You know, we took care of the football. You know, we withstood that 10-minute drive in the first quarter. I was really proud of that, and you know, it's just a great effort. And we talked all week about playing 48 minutes instead of 24, and I'm glad we did that tonight.
Now you're missing an important member on your coaching staff tonight, Chris McCoy. How special does this make this win tonight for him?
Yeah, everything we do is for Pudge. I got to call him Pudge. That's my guy. I know he's watching. Pudge, we love you, man. Everything we do from here on out is for you. And you know, he's a big. He's a huge part to this program, this school, and this community. And it's not right not having him here, but we know we're going to get him again.
Well, we're going to present you with this trophy on being tonight's Friday Night Rivals game winners. Congratulations on your win tonight. Enjoy the celebration. See you guys.
That's a team who's hungry for a win. 0-4 start, and what a celebration. Great night here in Pufftown. You see us here in the booth having a blast. Here's tonight's scoring summary. Clearly a good start for Glenn, the 9-0 lead, and then Reagan took control from there.
No, they sure did. It seemed like Glenn was getting off to a fast start, but kind of like Coach McGee said, they fought through adversity, Reagan did, and found their way into the end zone the next several trips down the field and find themselves for the first time in the 2023 season on the right side of the win column.
It's the Linder Turf and Tractor scoring summary. We want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors. Capital Metals, we saw the celebration there in High Point. Cook Reynolds for the end zone views, and a mountain fried chicken for the crew. Thanks to the high schools, all the administrators making things happen for our Carolina Classic Fair Friday Night Rivals broadcast. Coming up next week, Mount Tabor and East Forsyth, another conference matchup in the Central Piedmont. Next Friday at 7:30 right here on My 48. For Mark Covert, Hannah Brady, talented crew, Evan Budrovich, we say good night. It was all Reagan tonight. The Jalen Moore show continues. 4 tutties and a big win for Reagan to stay alive in conference play. Have a good night from Poptown.